But, guys, we are knee-deep in the World Cup Finals. Qualifier here for duos. It has been unbelievable. The European action has not disappointed. But, of course, we're getting ready to hop into more games. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Oceania replays, because don't forget, Oceania and Asia happened overnight. So we're going to also look at Asia replays as well. I guess I should have said both. And then we're going to take a live look into Brazil, see how things are going for them. I need two casters on deck. Let's get Pookie Face. Let's get Sundown. Let's get into these games.
Thank you so much, Zeke. I'm joined here by the amazing Pookie Face, who has a great talent at ignoring high fives.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, she literally looked right at the camera and then right at me. But as Zeke just said, Oceania and Asia wrapped up last night. I stayed up, watched some of the games. I know most people didn't, but they were incredible. The last spots were there, and let's hop in, give these guys a little coverage, and celebrate just how awesome at Fortnite they are. Now, a fun fact about both these guys, 7 matches played total. That was all they ended up running through. So they were able to get the maximum amount of points through each one of them, not needing all 10. And as we talked about with the breakaway esports duo of Serpent and Hype, averaging a placement of 2.67 across those 7 games. That is ridiculous.
That is extremely high. Do you know what other teams are sitting at in terms of averages like that?
I mean, you really don't typically will see placements like that in a 10-game run. Like in overall, like we've seen people being most consistent in like over the course of 10 games.
Right.
But like in that spree, I think the closest we've seen is the Twins out of Oshi, when they were playing more placement based and less aggro. I think they had one of the weeks up there where they were nearing 4, but sub 3 that's really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty incredible, like you said. And we see Hype just get the elimination on Pendragon, LOL there, just utilizing his edits there to quickly peek out, make sure that he's not leaving himself too exposed. Take a look at his partner, Serpent, who has got his own agenda of what he's doing over here. Looks like he's doing the same thing, but on the opposite side. So these guys just applying pressure all over the map.
Yeah, and one thing to note, it is a much sparser circle when you're in those very late games in terms of Oceania. Some players opting to play aggro, trying to get their games out there, will just go full send and try and burn through a couple towards the end to get into another one. But if you have good game management or the ability to just play consistently and ride it out, you can play this game all the way to conclusion and maybe snag what might be a slightly easier victory route for you if you're playing passive and defensive, which Serpent and Hype seem to have been doing so here with, I want to say, only 6 elims, but in comparison to the rest of the lobby, it's not a ton. It's good.
No, for sure. And to your point, kind of what you said about knowing, where your opponents are. Keep in mind that there's only 12 players left on this map right now, and only 7 duos remain. Make that 11 and 6. I spoke way too soon. Serpent secures another elimination there on Bray. But in terms of final circles, Sundown, this is not something that we see very often in these late
Hi Gator, ich berichte darüber, also gerade Live-WM in Fortnite.
So now all of a sudden, Zank being in this 1-by-1 by himself, if certain Hype want to go pinch him, they absolutely will. They know this is a 2v1, they know there's no one else here, but Zank is now trying to get whatever opportunity he can to free up shots, knowing that the next elim that goes down is the top 5, and every single point matters, even if not for qualification, and then for the prize money, with the prize pool being doubled in weeks 9 and 10.
Yeah, and Zank making that quick decision to just use the launch pad, kind of get out of there. He saw that there were
Wenn du willst, kannst du noch ein paar Leuten schicken, das streame und dann ein paar mehr Leute. Aber es ist ein großes Spiel gerade.
That additional protection anymore, but he is just trying to fire shots, methodically go through and see if he can actually get any kind of knocks or eliminations here to get that siphon, because he doesn't actually have any kind of healing, and he does take out Jimmy, so that is certainly going to help him for any kind of future eliminations or any kind of engagement.
Yeah, and it got him into the top 5, and Goobaz actually ended up going down as well, so just getting the tags on the end of the storm as rotation does go up the mountain, the verticality being the difference there. Elimination does go
Glück hat noch einen Kill bekommen, dann hätte sich noch heben können. Aber ist tot. Best Hype hat ihn zerstört.
And now they're going to start working the top down. When we started on board with them, they had 4 elims, now worked it all the way up to 8. There is 9 and 10, and they're looking to close this match out, and this is where every point matters, getting the wall replaced, and Slaya goes down. Well done from Hype and Serpent. 11 elims in the victory royale.
Well done from them indeed. Now, unfortunate to see Slayo go down. I know that he is a favorite from a lot of people, but you know what? Second place, not too bad, Sundown.
No, it was a good effort, but like you said, once kind of those two get rolling, when they have the momentum, they are able to just run with it. We've seen it before in the semifinals, and when they finally converted it over, sometimes that's all it takes. If you're able to put the pieces together on the right day in the finals, that's what ends up mattering. Now we're on board here with Surf Junkie and Evanix.
And take a look at their loadout they have right now. 2 Rift to Goes, 2 Shadow Bombs. I'd be interested to see if they'd split the Shadow Bombs. Duos will typically do that. You know,
Ich habe
2 and 2,
nicht
so
mal ein Handy. Also ich habe schon ein Handy, aber es ist deaktiviert. Ich kann das nicht mehr wiederherstellen, so dass ich wieder haben kann. Also nein, ich kann noch nicht schreiben oder so.
So that they can make that early rotation. They did have quite a long way to go, but they are going to look to see if they can possibly sneak on some high ground here.
Yeah, the thing is there, well, it seems like it is a little
bin
bit
noch immer nur über Insta erreichbar.
Right-hand corner, majority of the players were in their path in order to get to the rotation.
Sorry,
so
nein.
When you have 2 rifts and 2 extra shadow bombs as well as a ton of the shields, you can afford to be a little more aggro there, and they're actually able to now get priority on the zone and pick up an elim as well. But can they get the mats and then disengage out with whatever upgrades they so desire?
Again, Surf Junkie taking a lot of damage there, so he is going to have to really focus on getting healed up before they, you know, make the next rotation or before they take another engagement, because you certainly do not want your duo's partner going down or falling to anyone at this stage of the game. That certainly can spell disaster. But we are going to take a look here
Kein Flat mehr, nur noch
We saw a
WLAN.
little bit of their gameplay in the last game. They look as though they're playing very, very well together today. And you know, let's just see what they can pull out right now.
Yeah, so these were actually, so the last game.
Ja, Vodafone ist generell ein Scheiß, aber T-Mobile ist jetzt in Kooperation mit Magenta und das ist richtig ein Scheiß. Ich schwör's euch, Leute, das ist ein Scheißdreck. Magenta Gigabit.
Already on 7 elims for this match, so that's 10 points so far coming out from this game. That's what we talk about when we say maximizing efficiency in every single one of your lobbies. If you're making it into the final placement threshold, getting a couple of those victory royales and getting elims as well, no, it makes it very difficult for everyone else in the lobby.
Wann kommst du mal eigentlich wieder on?
Yeah, and you know, that we've seen time and time again has worked out for so many players, you know, really just being very aggressive, just going full send. It doesn't matter what game you're in, that can always bode well. He does get the knockdown
und sein Freund.
Surf Junkie and Evanix just fall to him completely, no chance, and we've seen them play very strong in the past, so that is very surprising. But Serpent does pick up the Rift to go and 2 extra Shadow Bombs, so now the tables have turned, Sundown. He has got all of the mobility he needs.
They just have so much control over this lobby now with the high ground. They can see nobody else is even remotely close to it. There's the far side of the lobby. You will see Lunar and Alpha trying to put some shots on it. Prince Charming comes sailing in, but there was a Shadow Bomb directly in the box behind it. I don't know if Alpha realized that. Gets high ground taken away from him second. Boxed in, no traps coming out, does finally put one down, and Kaiser can't avoid the damage there. 15 health on it, needs to throw the chug splash at his feet or get the edit out. One of the two has to happen very shortly. 15 HP was able to get back up to the high ground. Is going to opt to just pop the minis and then go for the chug splashes.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it wouldn't have really mattered too much what he chose to do, because you are only getting 20 HP effectively from those chug splashes for each one that you throw down. He did wait for his partner to join him, though, because there is that area of effect with the chug splashes. You get 20 health, your teammate gets 20 health, sometimes everybody gets 20 health.
Well, that's tend to be why you see it more run in duos, but also just love having shields all over the place. But now Serpent Hype going aggro, and we've seen it putting the dual combat shotguns to work, focusing on that with the loadout and making sure they're shooting together. But right now, Serpent has been chipped out a little bit. However, they're into the top 10 in terms of the team. So 5 placement points been picked up so far, and look at that. Prince Charming gets taken down. No fairy tale ending for you there. It's just back to the lobby, and considering this is the last match, that's the end of your World Cup run, as Serpent and Hype able to clean that up. There's another one going over, up to 12 in all the resources from it, and they saw that Shadow Form player. Look at him just running.
What is happening? Sundown, he was just, you know what, I think at that point he was just trying to do whatever he could to stay alive. Unfortunately, Hype and Serpent met him there, but Serpent does actually go down and he is going to fall to the storm. It is going to be completely up to Hype now to carry the rest of this game. Each of them having 7 eliminations, sitting at 125 points. Do you think he's going to be able to pull out the victory royale? We're going to have to find out.
Now, they are on the 14 Elims, has the proximity launcher. That's 70 on both of them right there. Will get the AoE, gets the 70 again, so he knows that player is on 40. Drops down, he ices, catches himself with the waterfall as he drops. Will pick that up. Siphon comes over too. Will he be able to get enough mats? He's sitting on 3-2, now out of materials. It's a 2v2, v1, v1. Edit comes out, needs to pick up this Elim. Storm isn't his favorite player. Covers himself with metal. Edit goes forward. Uncle Andy, say goodnight. Nothing left for you there, Hype. Finds the shot right there, gets a good 80+ tick. Can he find another one as he's trying to do all of the work by himself right now? Serpent's been taken down. He's sitting on 9 Elim's, getting some help from the high ground. 73 with the first shot, getting walled out. Needs to find a way back in the zone, and he does. Lupius goes down 1, 2. Can he find the third? Needs to get the conversion over, and he does. Lupius goes down. It's a 2v1. Can he find it?
Oh, no!
Barbucks cleans it up, but second place and 15+ Elims coming out from there. Good effort from Lunar and Barbucks, but Hype and Serpent showing why they got that top spot. It was really well played.
Unbelievable, the decision making and mechanically how gifted you have to be able to drop down, waterfall down, pull out your shotgun, and catch yourself so quick. Cat-like reflexes. Too bad Kitty Plays isn't here to comment on those.
And making sure that it was the player he had ticked twice with that proximity grenade.
In Asien wird jetzt gespielt. Jetzt schauen wir Asien zu.
If the player isn't boxed themselves up, but now we're going to hop on over to the Asia region while we see what was up with the Trigger QQ boys of the Vietnamese region, or the Vietnam country, playing on the Asia region. Apologies there, as we're on board here with Ricky and Joyza. Some good shots coming out from that tactical assault rifle so far. 12 duos remaining, 23 players left as we're in the half in, half out.
Yeah, and we are seeing a little bit of a trend here so far with these games, Sundown. You know, not very many players left alive, but I think it's a great change of pace, and you can really see how the players adapt their play style to kind of, you know, counteract the fact that there aren't going to be very many people in the lobby. Ricky just taking down Seal completely as he was trying to rotate and use the launch pad to get out of there. So good on him with that elimination. That will be his first one of the game. His partner, Jazia, is sitting on 2. They are going to use the Stinks to actually try to pressure this player above them, see if they can get him to come down, but he just gets out of there and says, you know what? That one stung. I'm not interested. Yeah,
Cushy having no reason to do that. And you also noticed that Joyza threw the Stink directly on top of Ricky while he was pressuring. No friendly fire going on there. As you can see, Hooten and Peach on the low ground, but there's the qualifiers, Flame and Unique over on the side. And one thing I went through and ended up reviewing a lot of their matches, they had some hairy situations early, but pretty much every single early game, they got completely uncontested Dusty Divot and walked out with just max everything. Like, it was nuts and just getting a ton of rotation, but right here you can see right now sitting on 2 Elims, have a decent amount of loot, good amount of mats.
Nicht mehr so viele Munition, die müssen aufpassen.
Convert that into one onto Theo, getting a good knock with the help of the Storm, up to 66 points as we're inside that placement threshold number 2, top 10 ticking over.
And I feel like Dusty Divot is actually one of those points of interest where you can drop and get a ton of resources, all the trees being there. You know, some would argue that, you know, you're at a bit of a disadvantage because you are essentially, you know, not to pun, but you are in a divot. But you know what, if you can use those trees for cover, that whole area completely uncontested and for yourselves, you are going to come out of there sitting pretty. So we are taking a look here. They are rotating over. We'll see how he builds up here, if he tries to take high ground, or it looks like he might actually be making a play for that.
Yeah, he was looking to find it over on the side, but instead just opted to box himself up, realizes he has the RPG and wants to start sending everyone cascading down, but opts not to fire it. So interesting decision there. I actually thought he would have sent it down. Instead turns towards the player underneath him, and him and Ricky are going to try and isolate that player in order to convert it into an Elim. Now he's going to look skyward. I figure he would want to reset that before they got too established. Nope. Instead, he's going to say, my high ground now. Perfectly timed launch pad to get it right at that maximum deploy height. And now, all of a sudden, Joyza and Ricky on the high ground, with a whole bunch of resources.
And 12 rockets in their RPG. We've seen this time and time again. Explosives are extremely strong, but they are even stronger when they are raining down on players from ultimate high ground. These players do not have to worry at all about anything that is happening above or below them. They need to be looking up at Jazia and his teammate because they are actually going to go on a little bit of a tear here. Let's see if they can get any more eliminations. They've already picked up one, but you can see him. Jazia's ready. He's got that RPG out, Sundown.
He has it out. He's trying to make sure it's loaded. Stinks continue going up. That looks like it's his teammates since he's just walking through that. Does hit top 5 now. Ricky has taken a solid amount of damage, but continues tossing down Stinks towards the low ground, but he hasn't found anything with it. So far, they've only converted this into one, and Ricky actually got knocked flame all of a sudden. Flame and Unique picked up 2 there, and they're into the top 3 with a 2v1v1. Joyce on the high ground. Dorothy isolated in front of them. They're going to try and pinch. RPG comes down, but Joyce commits himself.
Wie knapp der überlebt hat, ganz ehrlich.
80 plus damage, so now rifts himself up to the sky, but this is going to give Flame and Unique all of the pace, all of the pressure. Dorothy gets pushed down. Unique does get chipped out, so he needs to be careful. Joyce, recognizing this, knows he needs to go now before it's isolated, but there's the maximum deploy height. Might as well just be hanging out, clips his head, finally touches his feet, and gets blasted.
Ja, was soll man dagegen machen?
And Unique, we hopped on board with them. They had 2 elims. They converted it into a 7 elim victory royale for 17 points, Spooky.
Very well done coming out of those 2. And Jazia made a little bit of a mistake there. He did miss that floor that was built out, but unfortunately for him, he didn't have much of a choice. He didn't have any mats left, so he had to rip. That was literally his only play. Fortunately, it didn't work out, but let's hop right into another game from the Asian servers. We are looking at the Trigger Boys again. They're sitting at 9 eliminations already this game. So, you know, let's kind of see if they were able to pull something off here.
And again, one thing I highly recommend if you have the ability to go back and watch these guys' VODs, because I know a lot of people, they like to talk about the zero ping wall takers and going somewhere else to play. These are players playing from Southeast Asia, playing from Vietnam, being able to execute together, finding a strategy that works for them, team firing and coordinating. It was very impressive to watch. And there's honestly a couple of situations in the early and mid game where it felt like they really shouldn't have got out of, and they had really cool disengages. So highly recommend checking out these 2 players in particular if you want someone who might feel a little more accessible in terms of going over, and it's something that like, hey, I can do this, because I know there's sometimes when I watch VODs of like Benji Fishy or Clicks or Dubs, and it's like, well, I'm never going to try that ever, so.
Never say never. Believe in yourself.
Some of these kids, some of the guys going to the Fortnite World Cup final are infinitely better than I could ever hope to be mechanically, and honestly have shown why they are that good. Like, these guys are the best of the best and just do some mechanical stuff that hasn't been seen before. But that is not the only way to be successful in this game. There's plenty of paths in Fortnite Battle Royale to get there and to get to the top.
Yeah, I mean, you can be mechanically amazing. You know, you can have smart rotations. That's what I love about the Battle Royale genre as a whole. There's just so many different working parts. And I feel as though, you know, there are some duos that do some things really great and others that do other things even better. So that's why it's always so exciting to me to be spectating duos and being able to be here and casting these games, just so that you can see how these duos work together, how they play to their strengths. They are going to be taking, that one gets me every time. I had to quickly look down into the inventory there to make sure he had the redeploy. I was like, what are you doing, Unique, please?
I still get a little bit of vertigo anytime. Even if I know they have it, it's just like, I'm desperately afraid of heights. But we're into the top 10 now as Unique and Flame. Now you can see high utility. Again, 2-gun loadout, but using as much of the utility.
Ooh.
And RRQ hero Kappa just gets ripped 4-shot out from under him, and they catch him before he even hits the ground. Up to 91 points so far from Unique and Flame, and just so well done.
Yeah, and you can see there, just, you know, they started shooting at the wall and then both immediately switched down to the floor. Smart plays coming out of them as always. Here we have Met. I'm gonna take a stab at that name. I know that, thank goodness it's me casting here and not Zeke, because
he would have panicked and
Yeah.
probably fell out of his chair. But
Yeah,
now Met taking shots from the high ground, looking down here, trying to find what he can. Gets GCBM, GGK with a perfectly placed rocket, and now he's gonna look to punish that backside of the storm. That was the conversion over to the knock he'd already gotten, so nothing else doing there. As Harukio trying to put shots out towards the rest of the lobby, they find Buddha Fishy. So Benji Fishy transcending regions now, all the way over in Asia. People trying to get that luck, but not going to be enough, because the SP duo currently running up on the high ground onto 7 elims, looking for number 8 with that rocket. Got to be careful when you edit. However, Harakiro goes down.
Yeah, he just completely dropped down there, possibly to make it easier for his partner to possibly get him. But you know, it isn't going to matter because the zone is moving, so he is going to completely fall. Here we have the Trigger Boys. Actually, my apologies. It's only Unique still alive in this match. He has used his Shadow Bomb to position himself perfectly for the next rotation. Is building up, kind of taking mid-ground at this point. There are only 7 players. Make that 6 left in this lobby, 5 duos. So this is almost a solo game at this point.
Yeah, and now he got the other duo knocked, so it is a straight-up solo game. If he can convert on that, it will go through, and he's into the top 5. So a huge play despite Flame going down. Conversion does go through, and he finds Kosa as well. So now straight-up solos, 9 elims on Unique. It's a 1v1, and this was for all the money. Unique wanted it to be enough. He was sitting there. This was their second to last game. They needed to clutch out. They needed every single point possible, and will he be able to find it? We're watching the left side of the screen right now as Unique disengages down towards the bottom. Matt up on the high ground again as he's trying to run him around and find an angle. One thing to note, only has 6 mats and only has the redeploy, which is a top-down mechanic, so he wants to sneak a shot on him. He knows he has to save mats. Hello!
He jumped the rocket!
What? What?
Sit down!
Ridiculous!
He jumped the rocket!
It went up onto the low ground, just being a tile of the square away. Gets the first shot with the combat. Now he has the pressure. He finds his zone. He has to go forward, though, because here's the change in elevation. He finds the first shot. Can he find the second? And he does! He finds it! 7 HP left.
GG.
Gets the siphon to tick over. Unique puts it on his back. 24 points. 14 eliminations and the victory royale. Look at the fossil. Look at the plays. The Vietnamese duo doing it. They said, we don't need 0 ping. We don't need to take your walls. We'll do it with style. We'll do it with execution, and we'll do it with coordination. But now we're hopping over back into live games. This isn't stuff from last night or early this morning, depending on where you live. This is from Brazil. We're going all the way down to South America, and now on board with Nothing, No Name, and Clipnode. Clipnode, who actually grabbed the final solo qualification spot last week.
Yeah, congratulations to him. We saw him absolutely playing out of his mind. He 100% deserves that, because Clipnode is somebody who, when we first started this whole journey with World Cup, I really wasn't sure who he was, but we've seen him time and time again be extremely consistent, just with utilizing, you know, all of the things that he's learned so far. To see him qualify last week, sneak that in, but now he's here with Nothing, No Name, and they are certainly trying to make names for themselves today. Clipnode using that launch pad to rotate over. Tons of players left in this lobby, so things might get a little bit dicey for him. This terrain is going to be extremely difficult for these players to navigate. We see these 2 massive mountains in the middle here.
If he didn't close it, would have taken damage there, but this is what a World Cup qualifier looks like. The individual plays to get away from that, and man, the guy with the grenade launcher on the low ground is just pinging them into those windows.
He's not missing a shot at all. I don't know if I would ever say that term with a grenade launcher. You're not missing shots, but you know, he was absolutely nailing those. Now, like you said, you don't like being over here, but this is what it's all about to me. Anybody can, not anybody, but it's much easier to be on very flat terrain, tunnel through. This is what I love to see. This brings out the actual skill sets of these players. It shows us, you know, how mechanically gifted they are, how much they've practiced, how much time they've put into doing scrims and doing arenas, and just showing us why they're here, why they're trying to qualify and hopefully get those spots to New York.
Yeah, and you do see that Storm Surge is on the right-hand side. What Storm Surge is if a certain number of players are alive and the lobby gets a little too active, the people who have been the most passive will be punished. But because we're down below 30 players, it's turned off and will no longer be active. We've now hit top 15 and we're into those first round of placement points. Now remember, top 15 is 3 points. If you're able to get in the top 10, it nets you an additional 2 for 5. Top 5 gets you 2 more, and then the Victory Royale is 3 for a total of 10. And generally, if you're qualifying for the World Cup, you're looking for a 50-50 split. You need high placements and you need high eliminations. The balanced approach is what gets you there. As you can see right now, Clip noted, nothing, no name, 11 eliminations so far in closing in on top 10.
And they get rifted up into the sky there. That definitely was not Clip Nodes. I don't believe it was Nothing No Means either. That would have been a completely other player trying to get out of a little bit of a sticky situation there by using the rift. You can see No Name landing on the high ground, utilizing that community launch pad to pull himself back over to his teammate because they did get separated for a short moment there. Clip Node has actually used the launch pad as well. Or was still up in the air, but it isn't going to matter. He goes down. Unfortunately, lands in the box of another player. Missed is missed, takes him out.
Right, but Nothing No Name was directly underneath it and edited him down in between.
Oh.
He's gonna try and stick this revive, and he does. He got it. Can they edit back over? They got the next box. He's on sub 30 HP, and he gets back in. He has 10 HP. Will they be able to find anything? Player behind. Flipnote goes back down. Can he find it? No. Gets picked up, but they got the top 10. So 12 elim points. They're not going to be a factor in the rest of the lobby. You have Solinho and Seko on the low ground. Matakuski and Ernie just above them with Falls and Ducky 1 tarp above. Solinho does have 1 more chug splash and could use it potentially, but wants to hold off. Waiting for top 5 for the next threshold as W Key Edit picks up Obi and we get closer and closer. Lua gets ticked over and now we have 7 duos remaining. Solinho just taking a little bit of a breather, swapping up on the mats while all the action happens above him. Esteban picks up Ducky, and we close in on the top 5. Trap arms and goes off above, but no elimination. Ticks over as the Soccer Skins continue to look. Poised Playmaker wants to make a play, but they also want top 5. Constantly checking their sides, realizing they're okay right now, and I mean, man, they're running low on mats.
They are running low on mats, but they do own all of this. So hopefully, you know, they're going to be able to utilize that to their advantage. Edit down just like that. He takes out Expert. You know, that is the advantage of having all of those builds to yourself. You completely dominate the mid and low ground with edits when you have that. Ernie going down, falling to Soul. Soul gets another shot, 98 with a combat shotgun. It isn't going to be enough. Can his teammate follow out? Seago's out in the storm, but does come back in. Seago's sitting on very little HP, about 50 effective HP to his name right now, and they have to play low ground right now because they don't have a choice.
It's a 2v2. You have MST and his partner Esteban in the top right. Seko in the bottom right with Solinho. Everything else on the Y. Solinho looking for the angle. Player drops out inside this MAST, going for it, but Seko gets the first knock. The flint knock is off into the sky. The fall damage, hello. Can he catch himself and get back into the zone? Will it be enough? Solinho's tracking him in. No, it's not enough. Solinho picks up the double, throws a nice little pumpernickel, then into the iconic, or break it down, let him know. Throw a hootenanny in there as well, and a great finish. And also, Pookie, I got to give you a shout out right there. The way you called just the edit down and the fact how he was looking for it and then it happened immediately after. I just, in my head, I'm like, man, they're burning so many of their builds. Like, this seems like a waste, but just spot on with that right there. So hats off to you. Nice little clap. Well done.
Thank you. Don't let my ego get too big, Sundown, you know, or else
no,
I'm not going to be able to fit through the door later.
I live with Zeke. I'm an expert at knocking people down a peg.
Perfect. Can't wait for this game for you to say something to just completely catch me off guard. But here we are in another match. We're looking at King and Zone. They hit that snipe. You guys know how much I love seeing those heavy snipe shots. They're my absolute favorite. This is what I have come here to see today. Give me the snipe shots all day, Cam.
Oh, it's both the best and the worst feeling. Like, yes, it feels great when you get it, but at the same time, when you're just rotating around, you're hanging out in your box, and you feel like, hey, maybe I got my one layer, I can peek on a side, then all of a sudden, boom, boom. Or like you're jumping all the way around your 360, you're checking your side, and you just get your face ripped off, and you know, it feels awful. And even sometimes you're launch padding going through and somebody hits that shot. That feels great for them, the player who jump padded over, not so much. But King and X-Zone trying to make the plays. King actually recently getting signed to that 9Z team going over. Originally was King, I will not lose, has qualified for the solos portion. The young Argentinian doing everything he can to reach it in the duo side. Him and X-Zone have been so close.
Taking a few shots there, having them pay off. Still sitting on high ground, though, with the heavy sniper. Come on, King, give us another snipe shot, dude. But you see him here just looking for any kind of players that were trying to come out of the zone there and get to safety. He's not going to let it happen. He's saying, you know what? I'm king of the high ground here. I'm going to gatekeep you all day.
Yes, he's going to look towards the outside there, not going to acknowledge the pun. It was a pretty good one, I'll give you that. As Lucky Boy and Luco Boy over on the side here, 7 elims as we're closing in on the first placement threshold. And honestly, shout outs to Brazil. They've stepped their level up every single week. Some of their qualification barriers actually ending up being higher than NA West in some of those circumstances in the duo week. So just a really high level of competition, and just the fact that it's pushed up every single week. You can see Storm Surge coming through there, and Lottie getting a great shot with the combat there. And that's what we talked about, kind of the difference of the timer, being able to just throw the combat out there, get the wall shot in, and then immediately swap back over it. So now he's going to try to go aggressive because he wants to convert on that.
And you can hear all of the shadow bombs going off behind. He's going to have to be very careful. He isn't built behind him, so there could possibly be players sneaking in behind. But he is going to continue to try to edit forward. Picks up another elimination on Nis and Greg. They both fall to him there.
Yeah, and that was the double, is them trying to stick the revive. And at that point, man, you just got to let your teammate go.
Yeah.
Let him, you hang him out, you let your buddy and be like, hey, you know what, it's been a good run, but I'm going to go try and get those placement points. They fell outside of the top 15, so it's huge because you waste, I don't want to say waste all the time because you get whatever elim points, but not getting at least the 3 placement points from top 15, it hurts. It hurts the mental game, it hurts your score, it hurts your efficiency in terms of getting the points, as now we're on board with Barboisa, Lee, Golden Boy's favorite, as him and Zodi Boy are trying to make a run at it, currently sitting on 5, make it 6 elims and 33 points and a great loadout.
Yeah, and he just completely obliterated Les there. So Lee takes out Les. That's a good one. That's an interesting one for later. But he does throw the stink bomb down. Now, we've seen time and time again those being extremely strong. And Zate just gets completely annihilated. Lee now opting to utilize the shadow bomb. Says hello to the baller to his right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen. But then uses the small amount of high ground down there to maybe get any kind of eliminations on people coming into the zone.
Yeah, so if you sneak up on a baller near the outside of the zone and you're in like a late game storm, pickaxe it once and then immediately shoot it out. It'll send them flying out into the zone and you'll get elim credit. Boom, there you go, there's the strat.
Wow, look at these mad strats coming out of Sundown today.
Check Creo's VODs, he does it all the time and it's hysterical because it's one of the consistently easy ways to get elims on players who don't react, because if they don't instantly throw down the grapple and boost forward, they're gone because the momentum persists as soon as the ball breaks, so it'll send them flying out into the zone. It's great.
You know, where have you been for the last 2 years when I've been trying to improve my Fortnite game? I need you to coach me here.
I mean, you can watch the broadcasts and stuff. I drop hints and knowledge like this. It's called the Sundown Rundown or Sit Down with Sundown, whichever one you want. Maybe someday I'll get the leeway to do my super serious serial Sunday with Sundown, but
that is a lot of alliteration there.
Oh, trust me, it's Fortnite. It's all alliterative. But we're getting closer now to that top 5. 11 elims so far from King and X-Zone. X-Zone saying, I will not lose. I want to be on that stage with my buddy King, and King being one of those young prodigies out of the SA region, along with Nyx, doing everything they can from this low ground. How well can they execute and get around the side? Body Boy picks up Gozer there and continues his run forward, knowing it'll be ticked over, but King trades him right back, just inside, or just outside the top 5. You can see him wall off the player and want to stick with the zone as it's running out. 10 players remaining, 6 duos left right now as they look for the space. Gozer does finally tick over, but Lottie had been eliminated, and Clement didn't 90 fast enough there. Couldn't cover himself. 13th Elim. King has 11 of them as him and X-Zone are working down the chart, but Barboisa is trying to do everything he can as he frags himself into the top 5, picking up a double. You have Bravo in your top right and King in the bottom right as he gets another one onto Tade. They're the only duo left in the bottom right. Barboisa gets Franz. Will he tick over? No, Bravo takes it up, and we have a 2v1 with double campfires on the low ground. Heavy snipers as well. Knock Bravo down. This is one of the top duos. This is a team to keep an eye on. King and X-Zone, 43 points with the victory royale. 25 from that match, Pookie.
Yeah, coming out with 15 eliminations between the two of them. Now, you've said it so many times, you know, getting the placement and getting the eliminations are so important in these games to make sure that you are hitting top of the leaderboard every single week, and we just saw a perfect example of it coming out from those guys right there. Congratulations to them. We can see here for the Brazil games, we only have about 40 minutes remaining. So these games are going to be some of the last ones for these guys, depending on how long they are able to survive. Each match going approximately 20 minutes. So you need to plan your time accordingly and make sure that you are getting the most out of these games, because time and time again, we've seen it come down to just a few points. So every point matters.
I mean, we've seen it very frequently coming down to less than a few points. Like we've gone, I think we've gone 2 tiebreakers deep at some point. I think the most we've had to go on is 3 once. I might have to double check that. I know Creo went 2 deep on his when he ended up advancing. But one thing I do want to talk about is kind of the mentality about playing for late. It's something that you've heard all the time in the Fortnite community, but a lot of people don't really understand. Like, there's a big proponent around the idea of W keying or playing aggressive, and taking early aggressive fights when you can gun race and you know you have an advantage. For instance, if you pick up a combat early, or if you pick up a legendary AR at range, or even a green AR before somebody is able to get set and really get a ton of mats, you can pressure somebody and you can go full send and you can go aggro and you can create an advantage for yourself. But in the general run of the game, taking an even fight against players who are roughly as skilled as you or even slightly less, they're going to be able to chip you out. And most players are going to be able to at least delay you or make it worth the time unless you're significantly better than you, right? So then if you end up being able to be a little more passive, playing a little safer, working around the outside, being more deliberate in how you rotate and get to places, this is called playing for late. Because then you get in these circumstances where you have all the mats, you have the resources, and you're in a more chaotic environment, but you're not knocked out way before taking a 50-50 fight, and all of a sudden we've seen the number of times you win 1 key engagement on the low ground or 1 key engagement on the mid ground, and all of a sudden you take high ground away, or 1 turns into 3 or 4. But you don't get those opportunities if you don't make it to late game.
Exactly. I could not have said that better myself. You know, the thing is too, is early game, you never know what the other player is going to have that you're going up against. You know, you might feel that you're sitting pretty and you've got a great loader. You're like, you know what, I got this combat shotgun, I'm just going to rush. The other guy could be sitting there with an RPG. You haven't shielded up. You're back to the lobby, Sundown. So, you know, not knowing what the other players have is always, you know, that component of the game that can really actually help or hurt you.
And look, right now, as Andrea and Troy has some great gatekeeping on the side, keeping those players who are trying to rotate with their backs at the storm from entering it. Up to 9 elimination now as bot 6 does tick over, and you can see you use your utility, you get as far over as you can, and then you box up and you turn. The combats and the ARs being the primary benefactors right now from what we've seen today in the meta, and then going triple utility out of there. Andrea not getting the chip there, unfortunately, got a ton of damage, but no Elim credit, is going to pick up all of those resources and tops off with a lot of wood and metal.
Yeah, and we have seen time and time again today, you know, just with how many utility items players are carrying, because the utility items in this game right now are so strong. We did just hit the top 15 threshold. A couple more teams go down so quickly Sunday. We're about to hit that top 10.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm a huge fan right now of the 9.30 loot pool. Just seeing more utility and more shields being opened up for players has kind of enabled them. And then with the adjustments, we've seen players rocking multiple gun loadouts, but we've also seen players going straight for the utility phase. The Chug Splash is offering a lot there, but some nades coming out, trying to get the chip in. They snuck one in, but good coverage as we now hit the top 10. So 5 placement points for everyone in here. So far, this is a 16-point game for Andreoli and Troya.
And he is going to take a moment here, hopefully, he looked like he was going to cone himself in there and try to use the minis, but he isn't unfortunately going to have time. The storm is right at his back, and he is dealing with a player in front of him that he is using all of his builds for here to kind of take cover from. He's only got 21 builds remaining. He is above Loot Lake, so that adds a whole nother level. And unfortunately, Troya does actually go down to the player that they were tracking earlier, and Andreoli actually doesn't know where these shots are coming from. He's getting shot from everywhere at this point. He's being focused. He does end up taking a player out to get that siphon down to 29 effective health. It isn't going to be enough. Tried to use that launch pad to get out, but unfortunately he falls.
Yeah, and it was Santidad who picked him up there, and he's on the mid-tarp. Easy for Blackouts and got picked up, as well as DK. So this is a ton of Brazil's top players, but Santidad goes down, and we have our top 3. Now, top 2. It's a 2v2 with Nehu and Ziox up on the high ground, the other team working the low ground. They have the tarp in between as well. They know that they're in the box on the side. They're looking for him. They have marks towards him. They know the players are there. You can see the outlines in purple right now as the Sinisters is trying to get an angle on the side. Raja and Softy are working back around, but they need to be careful because here comes that change in elevation, and you can already see Zukic trying to knock down the tree, preventing no cover. Raja has absolutely no builds. He always going to try to hit the brick and get back up, and he can't. That's the little change in elevation we talked about. Softy gets taken down, and Zukic picks that one up. Flintknock does get picked up. He's on an all-weapon loadout. Nothing left. And Zukic finds it there, brilliantly done, pushing them up to 35 points after an 18-pointer. Just well done there. But we're going to send it back over to the studio with Zeke and Bala, I think?
How rude of you. You know Bala. He's the best ever. Oh, sure. Yell at me. Gosh. All right, Fortnite fan. We've had an incredible day of games so far. But now we're going to take things just a little bit slow here before our 30-minute break here. We've obviously got to take a look at Oceania, Asia, and that live looking at Brazil. But very quickly, we actually have a little bit of a treat. We're going to be able to chat with Klusha and Thomas HD, who qualified. So, gentlemen, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
What's up, guys? What's up? How are you guys doing?
We are so happy, dude.
Yeah, you guys are so happy? Okay, all right, let's start with Klusha. Tell me the feels,
What's
right?
up?
You see your name up on that leaderboard. What is the very first thing that you did?
We just moves and got a lot of points, just casual, like other days, dude.
Okay, okay. What about you, Thomas? What was the first thing you did? As soon as you saw you qualified, what was the first thing?
I was just shaking the whole time. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, okay, okay, all right. So this is kind of a big moment for both of you guys. You know, you've worked so hard for these last 10 weeks of competition. What does it feel like for you guys to finally say, look, all that hard work, that time we've put into Fortnite, it's paying off. We're going to the finals. And how does your family, like, have you told your family, do they kind of understand, you know, what that feels like? We'll start with Thomas.
My family is cool about it, and we're all happy. So I think it's just, I'm so happy, and we're happy.
Yeah, for sure. Klusha, what about you, my man?
What did you say? What was the question?
So for you guys to have worked so hard for 10 weeks to finally get that spot, qualify for New York, and then does your family kind of know what's going on? Do they kind of understand?
Yeah, they do. I qualified in week 5 for solos, so that's when they kind of understood how serious it is.
Yeah.
Like.
And to double up now, I mean, that's crazy. What an accomplishment, right? The double qualification is insane. And it's only a few of you guys, right? But talk to me about learning throughout the 10 weeks. I mean, we've played 5 duos competition now, and the clutch up in the last one is pretty crazy. But learning about not only how to play these types of tournaments, these open qualifiers, and timing. I mean, in that last match, we saw you know, it was a little bit of a lobby, but obviously with that kind of, when you play out those light lobbies, you end up not having an opportunity to play again. So was that the strategy? Was that you trying to get into one of those lobbies?
No, we were actually trying to get into a game after the last game. We had 2 minutes of queuing, but we didn't make into a game, so just kind of unlucky.
Sweat.
But yeah, we
were
sat there sweating for the last 20 minutes to make the leaderboards update.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, massive congrats. We cannot wait to see you guys at the New York City Finals. Very quickly, what we'd like to do is open the floor. You guys to get some shout-outs, send out some love, plug your Twitters, your socials, all that stuff. Thomas, let's start your way, and then we'll go to Klusha.
Shout out to Monkeyface for bringing us together.
Any social plugs?
Thomas HD on Twitter.
Thomas HD on Twitter. Man, a few words. I like that. Klusha, let's send it your way. Shout outs, social plugs, thank yous, all of it.
Yeah, I want to shout out Kasernen. It's the Discord for the Danish guys. We're just hanging out in there, and I want to shout out my Twitch, Klusha, and my Twitter, Klusha, by the way.
Klusha, by the way, there you go. Very easy to find these two. Again, guys, massive congrats. Yeah. We'll see you in New York City, and of course, we'll have to grab a slice of pizza.
Bye, guys. Congrats.
Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you later. And there you go. We get to talk with Klusha and Thomas. A little bit of insight there. You know, that you could tell they're just so excited to have qualified. Again, all that 10 weeks of prep work. You know, you can really tell that they've grinded. You know, they've poured their heart and soul into the game. And for them, it paid out.
And double qualification, too, is unreal.
Yep.
And over 10 weeks now, they get to, you know, take a little bit of a breather, a little bit, because, you know, they're going to hop right back on that grind ahead of July. It's going to be crazy.
For sure. Now, very quickly, before we go, there was a little bit of a mix-up, so really quickly we wanted to show correct standings for OCE prizing and Asia prizing. So this is actually, don't forget, Serpent and Hype are the ones that have made it through from OCE, and the prizing there is on the right side. Just a little bit of a mix-up there on the numbers. And then very quickly, we'll hop on over to Asia's, take a look there as well. Again, the players going through are correct. It was just a little bit of a typo there. A little bit of a mix-up. Things happen, you know. But, of course, Fortnite fan, we thank you guys so much for hanging out. Again, if there's people that have qualified that you are unfamiliar with, just send them a follow. Send them some love. They've worked so hard, and now they can say they've punched their ticket to the finals in New York City. But, Bala, of course, we got to go to the 30-minute break. We got to get some food, all right? And then, of course, when we come back, we've got NA East up on deck, so don't go too far, Fortnite fam. We'll see you guys in 30 minutes.
Let's fly out to the lobby. Let's fly out to the lobby. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your spots and nums. Burgers from dirt to munch. Tacos royale with brunch. Red juices a tasty treat for Lil Whip, PB, and Pizza Pete. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your spots and nums. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your spots and nums.
Lindy.
Jo, er spielt mit 100%, der ist ja dann Mann.
Ich weiß, ich hab früher mit ihm mit Dion gespielt immer. Lindy, was geht ab?
Mio, willst du in sein Clan? Geht nichts.
Ja, warum geht's nicht? Hä?
Weil du nicht so gut dafür bist.
Ja. Okay, aber zweimal habe ich, wie ich mit Chan seit wie ein 2 Monaten gespielt habe, mit ein paar anderen von seinen Freunden, habe ich ihn so auseinandergenommen. Ich habe ihm einen Headshot gegeben und dann... Und dann, ich habe ihm seinen Headshot einmal gegeben und er ist ausgerastet und dann ist er auch weggegangen.
Ja, aber trotzdem hat der OG-Renn auch kalt als wie du.
Bin wieder da.
Doch, erzählt
Warum nehme ich ihn dann immer auseinander?
Oder?
Ja.
Hier nur alle Boili.
Was?
Ja, aber so ist es schlecht.
Nein, Mio Code. Recon. Das ist damit Recon.
Ja, ich meine nur, ich meinte Hamster.
Oder wie lange spielt der kein Fortnite mehr? Barate. Ja, los. Ihr kracht was her ohne Luft abschießen und verschwindet mir, oder?
Was?
Ohne Luft abschießen.
Doch, mit Luft. Du kannst auch nicht sagen zu einem Gegner, dass er dich nicht in der Luft abballert.
Na.
Boah, ich habe mir World Cup durchgezogen, ihr wisst gar nicht, wie die spielen.
Sind die gut?
Alter, das sind 50 Leute und ich verstehe nicht mal, wie die gewinnen. Das sind 50 Leute in einem Game.
Oder?
Egal, in 30 Minuten geht's dann weiter, dann kann ich weiterschauen.
Wer ist gestorben, Leute? Wer ist gerade gestorben?
Kannst du da mitspielen?
Nein, ich habe keinen Teammate, der auch das geschafft hat.
Nein, ich habe es leider nicht geschafft, das sonst würde ich dir helfen.
Was?
Fuck, keine Falle, lol.
Nee, du bist so eine Missgeburt, du gehst eher auf mich außer auf Arlen. Wie eine Missgeburt habe ich noch nie gesehen, aber so eine Missgeburt habe. Guck wie los er. Er kann aber 19s.
Geh heute noch los als die los. Oder? Auf zu bauen mal!
Wuhu, Mio, wuhu! Aha, wow! Super, Mio, get the aim!
Tschüss, sag's mal ruhig, Alter.
Mir will er... Nein!
Mal schauen.
Ja, und bei der Runde kann ich nicht mitmachen, weil ich über diese Grenze gegangen bin. Ich bin kurz. Ich hab's gesagt, Mann. Könnt ihr bitte alle verlassen? Nee. Also respawnen, Mann. Mann. So eine Scheiße, ne? Ey, Afrika. Hast du schon den...
Ja.
Hau. Ja, ich bin gleich auf Party, wenn du so nervig bist. Hm? Ich hätte mich gleich aufs Party, wenn du so weiter nervig bist. Wie du? Behindert, Mama? Halt die Fresse, du Fettsack! Hoppa. Aber nein, stumm jetzt, dass ich nicht nerven kann. Ja, dann geh aufs Party, besser. Hoppa. Nur 19. Hau. Gefreckt. Ich hab die Üblich gelacht.
Na, Luna, Mona, mach Schmutter.
Silmia hast du, Hilmia.
Mann, chill doch. Lass mehrere Leute einladen, ich schwöre, das taugt dir dann.
Ja, dann lad Germany ein, Mann.
Germany ist off. Ich hab gedacht, dass er mit mir heute das zockt, aber nein, der naja.
Der Spaß, wie du gesagt hast.
Nein. Uns wäre das egal gewesen, wenn wir weitergekommen.
Warum sagst du immer zu ihm Spaß?
Ja, darf man jetzt seine Freunde nicht mal als so normal verarschen oder was? Das ist verboten.
Nein. Doch. Nein, du halt doch die Lappen. Du immer sagst, halt doch die Lappen. Du deine Lappen nicht. Oder du weißt nicht mehr, was Lappen heißt. Warum ist das? Oh, das ist besser. Ich hasse meinen Controller so sehr. Er muss sich genau ausschalten. Ja, bitte gib ihn. Ja, hoppa. Hoppala. Mio, Sita. Ich krieg das Party. Ja, dann lade ich Ich lade Pan.
Digga, wenn er mich kickt, dann ist einfach ein Lappen, das einfach keine Eier hat. Das so ein Ding ist das.
Ist im Mund.
Lappen, hey, Lappen. Alter, weißt du, was ein Lappen ist? Kennst du deine Küche? Und da gibt's immer solche Tücher. Lol, ich krieg 10er-Ticks. Lass ich dich killen, Kennern.
Nö.
Mann, ja, super, Alter. Ich bin an 10er-Ticks gestorben. Das war random 10er-Ticks, Digga.
Ja, ohne runterschießen, du Spasten. Ich ficke deine Mutter, Alter.
Ja, das hab ich gesagt. Oder heute Herr Noah.
Oder nur fickern, bitte, Mann. Du Spasten.
Ja, wenn du irgendwann bist, lass mich den Mund hin. Oder nur du selber.
Hoppa!
Shoot-Match.
Hoppa! Mama?
Fertig.
Na, Kinder, ich krieg wieder. Okay.
Mio, Sita. Weil ich spiele mein scheiß Controller, ich spiele nicht mit meinem
Rock.
Bitte, wir spielen gerade Moving zum
Bitte, ich bin ein Spieler.
Er kann seine Freunde auch einladen.
Ja, bitte komm rein zu uns.
Wir spielen Moving Zone.
Warte.
Ja,
was hast du an der Platte? No. Frage sofort, wo ist John?
Hoppa!
Gusi zu ihr.
What the fuck? Ja.
Wir gehen oder was?
Despacito. Racco, racco, verreck. Oh, da ladet andere ein. Ich lade jetzt wieder meine ganze alle ein, was ich kenne. Alles Spaß.
Wie?
Für Balle. Heide mio, Stita.
Oder Aimbot, er hat so das Aimbot gerade an.
Hoppa, Hoppa. Halt, er meint jetzt flexen ein bisschen. Flexen.
Hey, Anleger zu Unicorn.
Hey, komm rein. Ja, ich hab dich allein. Du bist mein Freund. Komm rein, lass Moving Zone spielen.
Doch immer Boss kann sein. Und nicht Chan.
Ja, dürfen die nicht.
Ja,
wenn sie nicht den echten
Mensch,
Namen
Luna,
kennen,
und ich hab
oder?
dich auch als Anfang für ein Mädchen gedenkt.
Komm jetzt rein. Okay. Okay, wieder Zitronenschmecker. Komm rein.
Zitronenschmecker, Sante Freunde. Hey, ich finde den Lab voll geil, Mann, Zitronenschmecker.
Das sind Freunde. Ich bin von Kernax.
Hat die Zitrone gestern geschmeckt oder was?
Alter.
Ja, Mann. Nice, oder?
Ja. And the first down. Kinder, du bist das. Du willst sowas wie sonst.
Ey, wir sind ja zu 6, ne? Warum spielt ihr nicht Duo sowas?
Was? Ladet du.
Ja, lass du sowas spielen, gibt es das?
Na.
Ja.
Nein, du bist ein verfickter Hurensohn. Du kannst mir lassen. Warte, okay, soll ich kicken, ja? Und das ist gut.
Mach doch, Hammer. Dann bist du alleine.
Ich wollte nur sehen, wer Freunde da waren, aber Herr Kena denkt immer, dass ich...
Lüg nicht, er hat sich das Land gefeiert, oder?
Wie kann er da stehen,
Ja,
lol?
Ja, ich war schon... Nein, ich hab Zitrone, schmeckt eingeladen von den Planer.
Nee, ich hab nicht gesagt, dass ich zu Rettungswecker eingeladen hab, du Dummkopf.
Du, ich habe ihn eingeladen, gesagt.
Du Spaß haben. Du Lappen, oder?
Du bist ein Lappen. Du hast halt von Lappen geboren.
Wir
Ja. Jetzt geht das. Nur das peinlicher. Oh, erst 63 HP, 63 HP. 63. Er hielt. Ich hatte 88. Oh, 50, jetzt 50 HP.
Na, Alter. Nein, ich konnte nicht mehr bilden. Ja, jetzt kommt er mit meinen Sachen, Alter. Ups, hast du von mir, du Fettsack.
Okay, kommt alle rein in unser Netz. Alle rein. Oder Lindy. Nicht über die Grenze gehen, nicht über den Ball. Du willst nicht über den Ball laufen.
Weil sonst seid ihr scheiße, Spaß.
Na, sonst wird hier raus vom Map sein, das Spiel. Ich sehe eigentlich noch mal einen kleinen Ort spawnen, aber ja, nicht mehr.
Ja, Mio, die checken's. Du musst es nicht erklären.
Nein, Leute. Voll damals so ein guter Start. Ich war kaputt.
Face Gucci, Gucci Face, Face Gucci.
Nice. Gut, eben. Die hat meinen Skin, aber er ist doch fast. Nimmt die Bauer.
Ja. Er versucht mich jetzt abzuschießen. Hallo. Oh Gott. Ja, ich bin auch ein OG-Spieler, weil ich immer Traps aufgestellt habe. Fick dich, du Bastard.
Mann, ich kann nicht bilden. Was ist das für eine Scheiße?
Sujuk. Du hast das Sujuk bestellt.
Dein Arschloch.
Ja, super, Alter. Hey, BMT, Maiko. Und wie hat der den Kill bekommen, Alter? Was ist das für eine Scheiße? Stell dich auch nicht auf anonym, du Spaß.
Ohne runterschießen, du Fettsack.
Ja, ich war der behindertste Typ, WoWs. Oh, er macht den tiefen Depp und jetzt. Alter Noah, was haben wir da für Behinderte?
Geh an, du Fettsack. Geh an, du Fettsack.
Alter, on stream. Er hat das in der direkten Zeit gemacht, weil gestorben.
Noah wird Karma kassieren.
Nee.
Weil er stirbt.
Karma.
Wird Karma kassieren. Ja, weil er mich auslacht. Und dann wird sie sterben da. Und
Ja, sei einfach leise, dann kriegst du wieder Kammer.
was sollte ich
Was?
leise
Ja,
sein?
ich hab schon,
Bastard?
Wie oder das Matchup?
Er hat 1000
Ja,
Follower auf
Kim.
TikTok bekommen oder auf YouTube. Ja, aber auf YouTube habe ich auch gehört, dass man das machen
Boah,
muss.
wieso? Wer hat Emotes? Wer von diesen Typen? Karma!
Ah, ja, Alter, der tanzt von mir, das Season 2 Spieler. Der Typ ist wirklich auf Koks. Der denkt, dass er mich killen kann, Alter.
Gerne.
Wer hat dieser eine Dynamit-Skin da? Dynamo. Ha?
Nein, der ist Season 2 Spieler da.
Was wollt ihr?
No, warum hast du gelassen? Ja, weil du einfach ein Noob bist, Noah.
Ein Noob.
Ja. Ja, du.
Ach,
Genau
Luna, ach, was hast du dir gedacht? Du kriegst meinen Kuratz, der schmeckt lecker.
Weißt du, was das bedeutet?
Ja, Schwanz. Und mein Schwanz
Ja.
ist du gleich in deinem Mund haben, jo, lecker.
Ja, nein, es bedeutet das Penis. Das ist eine Penis. Ein Penis. Und du bist ein Penis. Check it out.
BMT.
Lindy wird sich auseinandernehmen. Lindy, nehmen bitte jetzt auseinander die Tryhard-Modus von dir. Dann nervt es mir wieder.
GG, Kenner.
Okay.
GG, Kenner, du bist fett geworden, weil du den ganzen Tag Fortnite spielst, Alter. Du gönnst, dann fragst du deine Mom, ob sie dir noch 5 Big Macs schnell beim Mackie holt, wenn ihr vom Stadtbad zurückkommt. Und dann Alter, dann beginnt seine Action, Digga. Dann macht er die 20 Bombs wegen seinen schwabbeligen Gedanken, Alter.
Ich hab jetzt Kinder beim Loot.
Und ich frag mich eigentlich, wie ist deine ich frag mich eigentlich, ob du dich auch gesund ernährst, aber das muss man ja nicht mehr fragen.
Oder Kenan, du Fettsack! Kenan, du Fettsack! Na, Stefan, so!
Kenan, du Fettsack! Kenan, du... Kenan, du Fettsack!
Jede Verletzung in dich, Kinder. Guck, die werden verlassen. Du weißt, die verlassen wegen dich verlassen dich.
Ja, oder?
Kinder, was ist das cool?
Zitrone schmeckt wie so ein richtiger Schwein.
Nicht Zigarren, Alter. Glaubt, er killt mich. Zitrone schmeckt lecker.
Von deiner Mutter.
Meistens.
Ich glaube, Leben nach dem Tod schmeckt.
Ja, Leute, ich denke, wir können jetzt normal Squad
Hey, lass uns ein Team spielen gleich.
Ich will eigentlich weiter moderieren ich könnte mitmachen, ein paar Runden und dann müsste ich wieder moderieren.
Ich krieg 10
Ja, weil ich will unbedingt sehen, wie Tifio spielt.
Hey, Alins.
Was?
Kannst du mir fehlen noch ein paar Punkte, dann habe ich 300.
Nein,
Mach mal.
nein.
Das ist wieder gut.
Wie viele Leben hat der? Kann jemand schauen?
2 oder so, 20, 10, 20 oder so.
Oh, der Clap! Nein!
Ah! Ja,
Nein,
ja.
ich kann nicht Stunde, wirklich Stunde. Ich will Koch Kebab 1, 2, 3.
Und Mio, Hamalas, Babalas, Sujuk.
Okay, dann
Der was nackt bei seinem Haus herumgeht, Ehrenmann.
Ey, das ist eigentlich voll geil, nackt da im Haus so rumlaufen, Digga. Stell dir vor, du hast grad Freunde, mega shit, chilling out.
Die machen das, Kinder.
Aber mit Unterhose, aber...
Ja,
Tschüss, du schwule Drecksau, Alter. Tschüss, ist der schwul, Alter.
Ich hab Leiber, ich hab kurze Hose und Leiberland und Dummkopf. Und sowas im Haus und dumme Nacht.
Nein, mir
Wahrscheinlich kriegt schon sein Vater einen Steifen von seinem Sohn, Alter. So, Alter.
Oha.
Nein, ich muss jetzt nur sagen, all eyes on me.
Ich habe so ein Video gesehen, das du dann hast und allein machst.
Oder stell dir vor, Mann.
Was laberst du?
Ja, Videochat, hallo, Videoanruf.
Hey, komm, lass jetzt Team spielen, komm.
Mann, Editen ist so Failure bei mir. Oh, shit.
Ja, oder?
Ich bin
Hallo, ich bin der coole Junge.
Ich glaube nicht, dass du eine Claims von deinen
Alter, Luna, du bist wirklich eine gestörte Sau.
Ich bin nur basic in Nindi und nicht so behindert.
Ich bin das Rechte, ich fick immer die Mutter von Luna. Jeden Tag, wenn ich Zeit hab.
Und ich fick die Mutter von Nindi.
Ey, deine Schwester ist so geil, Mann, Digga. Ich schwör, deine Schwester hat so einen Arsch.
Ich hab so eine kleine Schwester, die im Kopf.
Er ist Einzelkind.
Ach du Scheiße, ja, dann deine Tante, meine ich ja.
Uff. Ehre.
Ich hab mal deine... Ah, Scheiße. Kopfschmerzen, incoming. Ich wette, meine Generation fickt ihn mit einem kleinen Finger weg.
Ja. Mein Leben fickt dich mit einem kleinen Finger.
Du, wie du vollbärtiger Allmann-Spaß ausschaust, bist du schon einfach untergekommen, weil dein Ben sagt alles.
Ich gucke gerade links Lindy in den Minispiel von Bunker Jones und Banana auseinandernehmen. Ich tue die Lindy und Noahs umbringen.
So, was ist denn jetzt? Oh! Ghost Assault, wer ist das? Ist es ein bekannter Spieler?
Hey, schau Ghost Assault!
Ja, ist es ein bekannter Spieler? Weil ich schaue den auch gerade zu. Ghost Killer, oh, er macht einen 150er Snipe, der Bastard. Mein Deutsch perfekt, perfekt.
Innocence. Innocence, beste Name EOS.
Ey, ich schwör, ich muss jetzt nur mal stumm, Digga. So ein kleines Kind will ich mir nicht mehr anhören. Ich will unbedingt kommentieren. Oh shit. Ein sehr schönen Sniper hat er rausgehauen. Oh shit, it's a ghost. Oh, it's a motherfucking ghost. Oh, hell no. Ey, ich hab mir fast heute meinen Fuß gebrochen. Zum Glück ist er jetzt nur verstaucht. Ja, ich hab Basketball gespielt, dann bin ich so umgeknickt. Kennst du das ja, wenn man dann wenn dein Fuß so umknickt. Jetzt meine Hälfte des Fußes blau. Hoch die Hände. Warte, ich schau mal das mal genauer an.
So, da kommt Money. Du Molly. Du Schlappen. Was bist du? Spaß. Cooler Mensch. Hey, jetzt hast du
muss man zum Arzt. Das sieht gar nicht so cool aus.
Hat's wehgetan?
Ja, sicher hat's wehgetan. Es hat richtig laut geknackst, ich schwör's dir. Nein, ich schwör, das hat übelst wehgetan. Nach 1-2 Stunden konnte ich erst wieder gehen.
Machst du Stadtbasette oder was?
Nein, ich meine, ich habe Basketball gespielt mit Freunden und dann ist mir Fuß umgeknickt.
So.
12 Leute von 50 Duos und 18 Leute von 100 Duos.
Ja, wen guckst du gerade zu?
Nettel.
Warte, ich schau irgendwo zu. Warte,
der holt gerade im Baller.
Ja, meine auch.
Ja, das, schau doch unten, da steht der Name, Nettel.
Ich weiß nicht. Dana.
Guck.
Nittel scheißt zu. Nittel.
Ich wette, Nittel verliert das Game beim letzten Gegner. Er hat nicht so viele Kills und er traut sich nicht viele. Er hat nur ein Killbrett bekommen, weil er im Baller ausgestiegen ist. Ja, Nittel ist fast tot. Turkey hat er getötet.
Er hat 870 mit
997 Sachen kann er bauen.
Alter, komm mal rein jetzt.
Das sind circa 20 Leute. Oh shit, TSM. Er hat einfach einen TSM-Member getötet.
Ich meine nicht dich. Ich meine Neo. Mann, du Spaß, du Mann, bin jetzt der Schwanz. Ich bin der Schwanz. Mach auf jetzt. Warte, ich nehme 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Gegner noch.
having height, but Assault way down below. There is so much of a height difference here. Assault could capitalize if he just looks right back in the zone and knocks out either
Du weißt schon, dass noch 11 Gegner leben.
Oder bei mir steht 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ja, jetzt.
Jetzt leben noch 2.
Das ist so ein harter
Ich glaube, dieser Spam-Set 2 verliert. Nein, der verliert.
Ja, weil er war bei diesem Nittel dabei. Verliert 100%. Außer er killt ihn. Nein.
Nee, er verliert.
Einfach einen Flickshot rausgehauen.
Amazing control of
Fick mein Leben.
down when to stay up. Caster playing that insurance. We talked about it with balls, but even as a duo, being sure you're
Das nächste Game von Wildcat und Tim der Tatman. Tim der Tatman. Das ist von Ninja der Freund. Ja, Mann. Ja? Oh, die haben nur einen Punkt. Nein, aber es ist wirklich Ninjas Freund. Du kannst schreiben, Tim der Tatman. Er hat viel mit Ninja zu tun.
In getting games done, getting those qualifying spots secured. Blue damage coming out from Tim. Can he see that the individual that he was shooting at, Remdog, is going to have a weakness on his left side wall? He's going to go for that blue, but it's not enough.
Ja, Tim der Tatman ist Ninjas Freund. Kennst du nicht?
Oha, wir leben 59 Gegner in dieser Saison. Tschüss.
Even though I stream Fortnite for fun a lot of the time throughout the day and make dope content, I can hang out with the big dogs as well and pop off when the moment's right.
Hey, they were both at that pro-am, and here they're perfectly executing a pinch as they get shot a little bit, but I think
Oder die umarmen, wie schlecht sind die?
Ja, das ist wahrscheinlich deren erste Runde, weil für PC-Spieler ist erst jetzt angeschaltet worden. Weil für PC-Spieler und PS4-Spieler ist es anders jetzt, wenn man World Cup spielt. PC-Spieler müssen später starten und jetzt ist es gerade 0:15 Uhr.
Ghost is lost.
Er ist ein Ghost gestartet. Ja, ich schaue ihn zu.
This is the moment where you have to capitalize, make sure you get as many eliminations and pick up your points where you can, because it's not only about winning games, you have to be dynamic enough to pick up on advantages, get those elim points, get a nice 50-50 split on what you're doing. You can't just be complacent and play these games bopping and Ghost is lost. Up top, never mind, can they get that
Es gibt nur einen Ghost-Spieler in diesem Kampf, also in dieser
Nein, warte.
Smoke grenade left for Ghost, so not that much insurance as we talked about before, but we'll see if he can make his position. It is the best one on the server. Right
Spitzhacke, diese Hot, dieser Ghost ist lost.
See if he can pop off from that moment as well.
Ja, dann nehme ich die auch.
Ich sehe die gar nicht.
What's going on here with Ghost and Boppin?
So in this position, as you can see, they get a nice theater widescreen 16:9 native view on the entire rest of the map, moving straight towards them, and they don't have to use
Kriegt man da Minus, wenn man diesen Modus spielt?
They can follow tarps. They just are allowed to do anything they want on their own pace when you have height right behind the storm. It makes it so that the storm moves onto you. You control the pace of the game. But if you do
Leck my Schwanz.
on the storm, Snazafen, this aim is ridiculous as two people
Snazafen hat einfach umgebracht.
Both individuals who are still maintaining height, which is a very difficult feat from the 5th zone all the way to the end. We'll see if it's possible. Now Waterfall's coming down. It's very, very hard to have that map management and be able to still move forward, moving zone to moving zone, as the distances are so far. At this moment, though, we see them utilizing just one tarp layers. Hold her hand getting knocked by
Ist Tim tot?
Swervo on the low ground as well, doing a lot of work, seeing if he can survive and get up top. Because look at this big view of the map moving forward, all metal.
Tim ist tot, aber sein Freund Wildcat ist noch in der Runde.
Moving closer to that top 10, Boppin and Ghost up on high ground. We've seen them time and time again find these opportunities, find these picks. Not going to find that one, just barely, as he escapes from below him. Right now, again, tarping, being efficient with their materials. They're still lasting a little bit longer, but each time they get knocked out, they get reset. They have to refresh and figure out what they want to do. Not a single one of their eliminations they have gotten the spoils from, the materials to refresh up on.
Absolutely. I feel relaxed looking at this right now. It looks like these guys are just low effort aiming. The server is just moving towards them because the position is just so good. A lot of connects coming in as well. There's going to be a mountain that people have to move up on. Boppin instantly seeing that and moves up. Awesome game sense there. He connects. Now they have an entire choke line on everyone else at the bottom of this side of the server. They can end the game before the 9th zone even shows itself.
And I love what they're doing here. You talked about Boppin getting that mountain, getting the connection here, but
ich warte einfach, bis der Videostream lädt. Ich glaube, ich habe 4 genau. Dann ist hier nur schwarz, Ehre.
They take out one more in cam, one more player for them to find.
This awesome positioning by both people, spreading apart, then coming together on pinches. Now they're going to fight together. No reason to give the individual Keen 2 1v1s and risk that win. A big tarp coming through all the match. They finally got some fruition from their eliminations. We'll see if Keen can pull a Savage and Shadow up. He's trying to, not possible. They're bopping, coming out with a donkey laugh. Easy claps from this duo right now.
Mio, was findest du an das Minispiel? Voll geil.
Awesome and smart play. They're going for that last elimination point, making sure these guys have everything from this game possible.
Er hat einfach 27 Punkte jetzt geholt.
Wer?
Der Ghost ist los und Buben.
Halle kommt, lasst ihn spielen.
Ich schau mir das an.
Ich spiel ein bisschen zu laut. Wie viele Punkte habe ich bis so minus mal 244? So, wegen Mio, weil er immer so laut schreien muss. Ja, was?
Bruder, ich spiele gerade dieses Burgerspiel da. Währenddessen schaue ich mir sogar deinen Stream an.
Was findest du an dieses Burgerspiel geil, Mann? So scheiße.
Ja, kannst deine Zeit vertreiben, wenn die gerade was machen.
Ein Freund von mir hat gesagt, man kann da V-Bucks kriegen oder so. Ey, ich habe wie gesagt, was laberst du? Oder ist so dunkel, das stimmt. Das ist so ein lila Screwstrip, aber ist richtig lost. Der Typ ist so schlecht, der kann nicht mal 100% gekauft. Wenn er nicht gekauft ist, heißt ich Ghost Lost habe. Aha, der Wix hat das auch abgeschaut. Hurensohn, Schatz von mir. Irgendwas mit Millionen. Weiß ich nicht, aber er lügt sicher. Weil er neigt du 5 Stunden, 1 Stunde, 2. Jeder ist bei mir, Alter. Ich hab gar keine Waffe, das ist so unfair. Das ist so unfair, Mann. So unfair, ich will fixa Mutter, Alter. Das ist kein Leben, oder? Spaß. Jungs, warum lachst du? Du bringst mir immer das Gerüstung.
Alter, TSM-Member.
white health is something you have to
TS, was heißt
prioritize
das?
so much,
TSM,
especially with the
keine
storm
Ahnung.
coming in throughout this whole week. It was just recently disabled for week 10, so people might still be on that bandwagon of holding that white health as for
Ja,
patterns when you
stimmt, ja,
practice
ne?
and then you play again.
Nur sei
He's very thankful
leise.
for that right now,
Du bringst
Commander,
mich mal
because he
unglücklich,
has
stumm
those
dich
white
gleich.
HPs.
Weil
Somehow
du bist der
finding each other in the
Lauteste
same
in,
box
der,
after
in
smoke
dieser
is so
Scheiße.
hard to locate a good path to
In
move
dieser
around him, but now
Scheißparty
Command
bist du
looking for
immer der
anything to
Lauteste.
capitalize on. Big
Ich weiß
beam
nicht
coming
warum,
down,
aber du bist immer der
272. The
Lauteste.
entire blue shield gets broken from that
Ich
low-ground
red nicht so
commando
oft wie
skin.
du.
Fami finally going down to
Ununterbrochen.
the storm actually after that beam. We'll see if these actually smoke again.
Ich
Stick
schrei gar
together.
nicht.
Balls everywhere
Bin
as well.
ich
They're
einmal,
gonna
habe
be
ich jetzt
dropping down to the low
gerissen.
ground. This is the best option for people trying to stick together, but the riskiest after it's
Ja,
done.
was
because you have to
laberst du
now
schon?
make
Nur
an
einmal
entire
hat
new
geschrien.
development of your own
Also
layer, your
schrei.
own boxes to get enough
Wenn ich
pressure
schrei,
to
bin
capitalize
ich...
on to the rest of the game.
Now commandment going down to low ground here with High Sky. I'm curious of what's in High
Oh,
Sky.
High Sky. Hey, High Sky spielt mit. High Sky, kennt ihr den kleinen Kind? Das kleine Kind? Bei Face Clan.
Ja.
Ja?
Ja. Oh, wie ist der Facecam, Digga?
Weißt du, wie stark der Typ ist?
Ich weiß nicht.
Playing low ground in these situations end up being so risky, but also potentially rewarding as he picks up one more elimination.
Aber er darf ja nicht mal in den Clan sein.
Sicher darf er in einem Clan sein.
Wie alt ist der Typ nochmal?
10, keine Ahnung, 10, 11.
Das ist einer der besten Spieler, Digga. Muss groß, ne?
Frey, Snoot, and Dwifo are actually going to be the ones to get the front of that force from up top. Riverside dropping down, taking a little bit of fall damage. Needs a siphon elimination here as he does not have any white heals at the moment. A surprise box opening is now going to be realized at where the pressure is coming from Riverside. We'll see if he can dynamically switch between these mat layers to get a nice vantage point or a surprise shot off on anyone. But there are so many hard mats at this point. Everyone's adapted on the rotation meta, the tunnel meta, when to have wood out, when to use brick and metal. And it's going to be so hard, especially with attack AR, to beam through these builds.
You see him trying to open up the sightlines, trying to break through and create any sort of gap where he can find an opportunity. There does get a little bit of a shield tag, but still nothing yet.
Ist gerade High Sky gut?
Being so useful for these
Digga ist 10-mal besser als wir 5 alle.
We talk about using utility. There's not much available left to crack open the server. We did see Riverson use some stinks earlier to capitalize on an elimination. High Sky now down on bottom with Bluff. These guys are going to have to fight for this entire layer. Big shots being traded. Bluff goes and gets that elimination on High Sky. TJ now falling with COD Genesis. One of the other duos left is going to be a 2v2v1. Anthony and Riverson want to crush down this entire high ground layer. Makes it very easy to pressure. No one's on ultimate low at the moment. Can Bluff call that bluff and go all the way down? COD Gen comes down to Bluff. He might get the siphon for that as well. Give him a nice, easy picking on Anthony and Riverson, as well as they might be able to take height now. A 1v1 coming in, but Riverson representing NA East now, popping off and getting that elimination.
Switching coasts, and I think that was a perfect, opportunity to talk about their chemistry there in the last moments. That timing by Anthony and Riverside to come down right on top of all the duos, right as they all fell within each other, all of them trading shots together. And then they just come in and clean up. That's all they needed to do.
Absolutely, just stick on the same page, not one person building and one person shooting, 2 shots coming in, and a nice 1-for-2 trade there, or 2-for-1 trade, netting them the win. We now have Zopher chilling on, once again, a polar peak layer. Looks like every region is now having their own respective biome to play in. We saw EU with a lot of guys with Northeast games. We'll see if the filter, the great filter, can be overcome this time, as Thick Boy Uravs and 99 Zopher see if they can hold off on this pressure. The wall replaces, you're never sure how much pain your enemy has, how much you have. Big shot placement coming in, B-Man going down, no secret there. As the whole server now knows the mistakes they've made on that push.
Bei mir steht, German ja eine Party 6 Stunden.
He's pressuring my roof. He maybe got a roof or 2 or whatever, but then realizing he's going to drop down on my wall next, I'm going to go ahead and preemptively place this trap. And he fell right into it.
The grind that these players do, Atlantis to Duo Arena to these big pro.
Ich schaue jetzt, ob Arman on ist, aber er ist nicht online.
At the moment, not Panda, not in his natural climate. Gonna get frosted over by Sheep, who's gonna survive with that big wolf fur all over his body. these misfits up top gonna make sure they're gonna do a little bit of mischievous things to the rest of
Oh,
the
ich will jetzt richtig reinswetten. Noah.
Sneaky right below. Not sure if Famwood and Sheep know where they are. Famwood making sure he has some insurance just in case the zone does bounce back. It's actually looking like it is going to go a little bit behind. That prime position once again.
You just mentioned the insurance right there. What Famwood did was actually connect to the side of Polar Peak so that he makes sure, hey, Raz and Vorpal, I know you guys are down there. I know we landed on your base, but this is our real estate now. If you want to go ahead and get it, please no, you can. I bought it.
So wie du aufgegangen bist, hat er mich voll beleidigt, weil er voll schlecht war.
Up that property value. Gonna look at low ground right now. Once again, these people getting caught on the backside of zone, maybe using that rift a little bit too late, all the way up top. Postic taking an elim out on Tyler's. Tyler's now getting knocked after that. The sacrifice you make on low ground sometimes can be too much to give you any advantages as well. A stink grenade coming out on the follow-up. Axiom.
Perfect math. Yeah. Right? He's doing it in his head right now. He knows exactly what he hit that player for. He saw the white damage come through. He did the math. He did the addition. He knows one stink is going to take you out. So perfect recognition here. They took out Painful's teammate a second ago, but no, I thought he was going to go ahead right through the back of that. It's going off the side of Polar right now. And we know who's up on top. It's still Famwood and Sheep. Continuing to hold that real estate.
The big thing about this Polar mountain, especially when you're playing on the side of it, is it always gives you natural ground to connect to on the mid-ground tarp layer. So that's going to be very, very important for all these teams who are going to be looking for shots above and below. Trying to shoot up from mid-ground is always a big risk because you can get knocked down from below you, but now that can be opened up. So Sheep is being very, very meticulous about where he looks at, focusing a lot of his attention on the low ground layers because he knows that this position might be a little bit more vulnerable than usual. Big shots coming out on him, but he has a lot of shields and a rift as well, just in case things do hit the fan. We'll see if he has to use it at all, dropping in Storm to now waterfall down. Once again, dope mat management. He's going to be using one mat all the time to fall, making sure he falls diagonally to make sure he saves on a mat from a tarp switch as well, which is really, really nice. One elim, the capitalization on points might not be there yet, but there are 20 individuals left alive, 12 duos. That first placement point comes in, and we'll see if they can get more points all the way up to the Vic Roy.
Das können
really like what they're doing here, moving so slowly forward. Does find Raz, who's below him all that time before, but slowly going in on the edge, really making it so that people don't realize that they're a threat, that they're up there, that they have high ground, and they're holding the game right now.
Wenn ich einen Punkt hole, dann nur wegen Platzierung.
I think he's going to find one more as these players decide to fight. Couple in the zone, he does find KZ, but falls all the way down, unfortunately.
Weil am Ende sind die gelöst wird
I already see a problem here because there's stink grenades in play, really, up on high ground.
Stink grenades in play on height is one of the most dangerous things because sometimes you can't even build higher. It's a lot worse for you at the end of the day. Wall replace is coming in. Dynamic Menace goes down. The 2-tap coming in. Very nice stuff from Sheep here. He's going to start to go down as well, but he's getting pressured from all sides at the moment. Famwood is also alive on a tick of HP right now. They're going to be looking for connects if that's possible. Famwood staying up so he doesn't get damaged at all either.
And that crazy switch, mat switch right there as he was waterfalling down with wood, and then suddenly he switches. He still had 430 wood, switches to brick, makes it possible for him not to get knocked down. And I'm seeing a bunch of names down here that we started with. We saw Urav's, Posic, and then Bumpa and Slappy, who each week we have been coming back to, and they've been getting better and better as they've started their journey as a duo together.
Absolutely high tier loot as well from everyone, so every shot that connects will connect hard. Clank now trying to find a way through with Posic. We'll see if they can come up. 5 eliminations up. Can they get more? The final placement points has been handed out. A shadow comes in and he gets stopped and slapped away. Slappy gonna get eliminated at the end over there. Some edits getting misplayed from Clank. Can he make it in? 46 HP, 26 now. A lot of damage taken, gonna be detrimental towards the end of the game. Famwood actually goes down, so Sheep is left by himself. Clank jumping all the way up. Looks like he actually gets eliminated by the Storm, trying to go for an advantageous position.
Slappy actually got the elimination there because the Storm took him out and Bumpa's still alive, so that point does connect and they get into the top 5 as Super Evan goes down now to 1v1v1. Bumpa goes out to Godnik right there, and it's Sheep versus Godnik. Sheep on the high ground, Godnik down below.
So you 240 mir, komm bitte rein.
I think he might have just taken high ground. Sheep doesn't realize where he's at. He's using the chug to heal off.
Dass wir mehr Punkte machen.
The first time we've seen the chug splash used in that sort of manner, running away, getting the ice on his feet on purpose, and then going right out. The chug splash it's here. It's ready.
Ja, der ist jetzt
It's happening. It almost looks like a PG fight was going on, but we'll see. Go back to Zeke and see what's up with the rest of the games coming up.
Richtigen.
I like that rhyme. I'm about that, Shy. I like you. You're a really cool guy. Man, what an insane game
Ja, okay,
there coming out. The Chug Splash,
das ist
man.
auch gar
I'm
keins.
telling you, we have not seen the
Und
ceiling for this
Flugspitzhacke,
item.
dann weiß man, dass
People are
du
going to continue
bist.
using it to do some really fun and crazy things like that, but great for the player to identify, you know what, I can just live. I'm just going to keep just splashing the ground. I'm good.
Well, it's a great, because it's a change, right? I talked about it a little bit earlier. This fundamentally shifts kind of how those full storm closure and those heal ops play, because usually you have to account for it. There's no instant HP. It's either a HP over time via the slope of the campfire, or you have to commit to either like procking it off, whether it's the bandage, the med kit, or sitting there and popping a shield. So now all of a sudden, when it's an instant 20 HP and it stacks up to 6 times, like, you can exchange those out. So now a siphon might not be enough, and I mean, those end games, things are getting weird.
Things are getting weird. Speaking of weird, I don't know, I didn't make a great transition, but we're hanging out with Sundown.
These plays were sick. They went,
I was going to say,
let's get right on into it, or let's dive on in. You can see the swimming pool over there, but first we're on board with Niddle. Niddle has qualified in the solos, is able to pick up 2xe there, and then start his work from top down. He picks up a nice double here
Vielleicht machen wir heute auf deine 100.
and then he finds Vinny right
50 Punkte sind sehr leicht, dafür du machst sehr viele Kills und du am Ende einfach so nicht
will be able to close that one out, but gets knocked there. Casker, however, held the high ground, didn't go down to contest, and is going to be able to ride this one out. You can see it's a 2v1v1, but he equalizes by picking up Top Gun and then getting the first shot and the second one, 6 HP left. We talked about the difference.
Du startest einfach.
But Ghost is lost, and Boppin didn't look lost here. They were able to put the bop on the rest of the
Ja, bei dir steht dann
there, and this one was all
World Cup und dann drückst du auf World Cup
They're
und
running
dann
the high ground from the
kannst du
entire
Runde
time.
starten.
They made sure they identified the threats by them, and then they picked good targets on the edge of the storm. And you can see Ghost following up right away. Virtue trying to make a move, but it wasn't enough. And Boppin is going to be able to just follow it up, and you can see them being relentless. And then Ghost, this is great. They tarp out the whole level. They know he's there, and Ghost is like, we're not going to lose. I'm 100/100.
Mir ist ehrlich.
Every point matters. That one got them the 13th elim, and now we got Anthony and Riverson. So Riverson used to be the best of the West, now playing over in the East, trying to be a beast here, doing everything he can to get another qualification spot. He wants it so badly, picking up Twifo there and trying to push through. You can see pulls up with a great flank and control around the zone to get TJ, stay in it, and then recognize the shot on the bluff at the end. Just brilliantly done. We've seen Riverson before, and now trying to do it with the new duo of Anthony in the final week. We're used to seeing him with Persecute, but let's see if it's enough to get him up here on the standings.
Here we go. Right now at the top, you've got Zayt and Saf leading with 48 points, 4 games played. But right behind them, you've got the liquid duo of 72 and Vivid. Tetra and Eclipse right behind them. And look at this, man. From top to bottom, an 8-point spread. That's, I mean, 8 points in striking distance is, you know, making it what, let's say, top 5 and a few victory royales. And suddenly you're finding yourself up all the way up here. I mean, this is still really, really close.
And the one thing you have to realize, Eclipse and Tetra have already qualified. Zayt and Saf have already qualified. So right now it would be 72 hours in Vivid, Slacks and Keys, and then Assault and Innocent. But with all of these players here, we've talked about a reasonable pop-off game being about 15 points. It's a 5-win victory royale or a top 5 with 8 elims. And in duos in particular, because everyone kind of squishes together at the end, those numbers can be inflated. We've seen 20-plus point games. Yeah. We saw Stompy Tashinkin drop back-to-back 20-point games to take the top. It is still anybody's tournament for the last 3 spots. And again,
mir, warum landest du nicht bei mir? Das ist doch aber richtiger Ehrenmann, oder? Herzenhatzen. Wo landest du?
That's right. And again, you know, if you're seeing these players and you don't recognize
them, hab ich dir erlaubt?
Nein.
Wir haben
They're playing their hearts out right now, trying to punch their tickets. But of course, Fortnite fam, we're ready to hop back into more games. Thank you so much, Sona, for hanging out. We're going for a dip, so let's send it back over to Bala and Shy Wager.
Was, das ist jetzt wieder 3 Punkte minus kriegen.
Always on fleek, and so is NA East as we get Dubs and Mega, the big titans of the entire server on solos and duos. A nice, varied actually rotation coming in. A ball sticking beside a flintlock pistol like a mother deer and her fawn as these guys move around the field at the moment. A lot of mats available as well, and they keep saving these mats as well when they use this type of rotation.
I love the use of the flintlock as a rotational item. It's something that you can always basically count on finding at least one, or maybe a glider redeploy shadows or something. And that flintlock,
wie viele V-Bucks hast du jetzt?
You have it and you're like, oh, I don't have any rotation, but it saves the day here as Dubs and Mega make their way towards the zone. Almost approaching that top 25. That's not a placement threshold here in duos. It's actually still half of the server.
Ja, wenn Item kommt, Shop kommt und wenn was 807 Style ist, dann kaufe ich mir dann. Gehe ich gleich auf und Flash spiele ich eine Runde mit dem Skin. Oder mit der Spitzhack oder mit dem Hängegleiter. Oder mit dem Tanz. Aber mir tust du es immer, dass du mit Gatsche rausgehst.
A blue tack shotgun available, so he gets multiple shots in close range. It actually does out DPS the combat if you are in that box-to-box moment, and that's what he's looking for, doing his patented role placing. It is the box fight meta. And we'll see if Mega can play that meta as well as one duo holds while the other one pushes. Flintlocks coming in that tack. Double tap, Ghoul goes down, now representing his name as a ghost in the server. We'll see what these duels can do as we look at a huge aerial shot of everyone on the same layer on this mountain in the map.
Starting to flatten out, but we know the moving zones are coming, and we know those changes very fast. As I was looking at those standings, I was looking and seeing what the average points are for those top places, the people who are going to be qualifying. Zayt and Safet up at the top, they were averaging just slightly over 10 points a game at 46. And they had only played 4 games. Same thing with 72 and Vivid. And you know, I have a funny story about Dubs and Mega actually. Dubs was giving me advice to play in the finals. He's like, Bala, you got this. You can qualify. All you need to do is get 10 points a game. I'm like, okay, buddy. You're only one of the few people who can do that consistently.
One of the only in the world. We talk about the placements and where individuals are in these leaderboards. The first 5 games and the last 5 games and these 5 shots coming out of Vix are so different and important as he gets that knock. When players are playing your first 5, the mentality is very different. You have some momentum, but as you move around in those leaderboards, those last 5 games, people start getting more serious. People start throwing games. Speaking about throwing things, all these bodies are thrown in the air as everyone is on rotation at the moment as the zone just starts moving. Looks like no one's really moving that late. Rogue is left behind with Zeshi as well.
And I'm already seeing the top 3 players, their duos up on the leaderboard. Vivid and 72, and we saw Keys and Slacks as well down below them. Looks like Vivid is in a clutch situation right now as his teammate is already down. Trying to find the player on the zip line. He heard it coming. Started to put his attention immediately on it as he tunnels forward. Again, we talk about it every single time. It's always get ahead of the zone. Look back. Look for those gatekeeping shots as he sees. He opens it up, gets the stairs in. The edit comes through. Divine had no chance and no speed to realize that that was going to happen from Vivid taking opportunity to find that elimination.
Divine on the low ground, now being dropped down to the underworld as Vivid starts to make his way up. 72 has been eliminated, so it's all him. Only 10 match though, so it's just him and a dream at the moment. Now has to barrage through enemy builds with his pickaxe. Has an edit though, the last match that was his in that box. The dynamic zipline play coming in as he does gain a little bit of height, but needs to go even higher. Balls flying all around him in the map as well. H-tag going down. Can he get the mats from that elimination? Yes, he can. 20 metal only though, as he still has to rely on his trusty pickaxe, denying a player height on that layer as well. He does have 1 launch pad and 1 mat left. Tickers all the way up top with Hornet, who has qualified in
Ende ist es sehr wichtig. Siehst du auch bei den Pro-Game am Ende.
We'll see if Vivid can find a way up.
Vivid doing crazy things right now. Fortunately, the zone did go back in his favor, so he doesn't have to spend too many materials.
Ich bin einmal von den Dings weggehauen und hat mir 0 Schaden gegeben.
For more, he's looking to refresh. He needs to find something.
Weil nicht, war schon gut, aber Black Knight oder so.
He needs to refresh. Not even much though. Every single time he finds an elimination, there's not much at all. The edit coming through. Is he going to finish it off? Yes. But does he get the mats Not really just yet, but taking the time, going back still. Only 10 builds, really 15 builds here. Vivid, can you really do this right here with no mats from all the way back? Now into the top 5. He is doing this.
The big thing about getting these low ground eliminations is that everyone else is also in shambles. The big wall barrage coming in with the flintlock. Just nice knowledge about where your materials are and where the angles are to get in. Has 2 heavy snipers available.
Bin wieder da, ne?
Takes multiple chances at moving through.
Hört ihr mich?
Up layers though. Silent edits coming in.
Keine Ahnung.
Ja, was ist?
Ja, nur dass du mich hörst.
Can he get that launch pad off? No. It might not be enough time. Vivid now going down to the zone is going to hold back as much as possible to see if the enemies were making a mistake. But that's the game. Hornet and Tickers playing the positional game there and winning it off with all this multi-high and low ground coming out. Look at these targets.
Yeah, this fossil is ridiculous as it goes all the way back. I mean, really, we could actually track the story of Vivid, right? He had no materials through all of this. He barely contributed to that thing, but he survived until top 2. So what a performance there from Vivid, and that's why they're up there. That's why they're in 2nd place right now.
It's always that 1 or 2 pop-off game, and it's always also about staying consistent. If Vivid and Tom keep playing that way, easily they can qualify this week 100%. We see Stinks now.
Du bist so schlecht. Allen, kannst du bitte die Arena spielen?
In all these regions. Nice dodges from Grasha there, though. We'll see if he can move forward. Has a lot of
was mache ich denn? Ich hab mich geheilt.
3 elims amongst him and his dual partner Daxter, both representing E11 Gaming. They do have that patented flintlock free-to-play combo. I think it's one of the most dynamic combos in the game. You don't have to pull out anything if you fall off from height. It's very easy to kind of manipulate.
Ich hab so viel Minus gekriegt. 9-9!
Though, they do take 2 slots.
Du Noob,
I mean, 2
so
slots,
schlecht, man. Okay, ich spiele Solo Arena.
Actually, I don't know if we've seen it on broadcast yet, but there's starting to be a lot of innovative uses with the flintlock and the glider.
Ja.
Actually go faster, even horizontally when you use that flintlock and the glider deploy, because you shoot that flintlock, it pushes you with the momentum, and then you're using that glider deploy to just carry you forward.
The biggest thing about it too is that you can choose when to stop and take your shots as well. We see a lot of stuff happening on low as, right now as well. We have Pika on the server.
Und jetzt lande ich im Mittelfeld, im Braunfeld, im Arschlochfeld, in der missgeburten Mamas Feld lande ich jetzt.
The timings of West, they thought, hey, we should get into games now, and they fell off on the East. We'll see if they can get the stuff done. There are 2 more qual spots on East compared to West, though, so maybe that's one big thing.
Nein, ich schwöre, mir ist einfach so schlecht. Ich habe so wenige Punkte. Ich habe 232 von 2245. Bitte mir, wie schlecht man sein kann.
And he qualified first try. He's actually even East still with his partner symmetrical this week. So Pika taking a little bit of a note from that.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, though, this is not the first chance. This is the last chance. It's week 10, so everyone's pulling out all the tricks from the bag. No secrets here. We'll see if we get anything equivalent of an Olaf boost. We'll see if there's any secret stats happening as that door edit comes through. People now have adapted to that, though. They know that someone's coming through that door. Assault taking all his shield off when he gets onto this rotation. Only 2 minis available. We'll see if Innocence has any heals as well to supplement this duo as he gets booped a little bit of interruption there on his minis. He does have shadows available. Once again, 1 player on shadows, 1 player on the balls, and in perfect position as well as he can Hydra from the zone line. A nice dynamic switch onto the floor from the wall once you realize that someone was already pressuring that wall. This is just those micro decisions these players make at the last second of these shots to get that elimination when they move across the map as well. They're going to be on rotation now. We'll see when they box up and go back.
Assault getting beamed from the back, not realizing there was a player who's going to immediately realize that he's there. But I got to talk about it. We said pulling out all the stops. Assault and Innocence right here. They're sticking to the tried and true, the 1 baller strat. We've seen them do this, even dual baller all the way through from the beginning, but they just got ripped in. That baller is gone now, and they have to dive. No, Innocence is still down there, actually. I misspoke. There's so many players in the sky right now, but still. So I think he still has that baller. I think he can still flash him. Look at his HP right now, not working out just yet. Where did Assault go? Did he land nearby?
He landed on the mid-ground there, Bala, and he got right to work as Branchies, who is also on East right now, playing it up, gets a big knockdown from Assault. He, as soon as he landed, even though he was split, went straight to work, started bullying Davon, who also landed with Fernando on that mid-ground. And he has this insurance, once again getting tagged up. People just predicting everything these players are doing when it comes to smokes. There's no safety available. Everyone's on their best behavior. They know all the stops they can pull to get this pressure down. Assault's now getting dynamic with it. Might not move the same way to get that shadow off. It might affect him on the amount of distance he can move, but he still has Matt's 500 wood left, actually, which might prove fatal near the end of the game, as that wood can get shredded through, just like cheese in a grater. We'll see if he can keep it yummy, though. Assault on 41 HP, needs some more food, needs some more eliminations to get that siphon off and get him back up to 100. Sees that storm line sight line as WordBro gets .exe'd out of the game. He's off now. 28 builds left for Assault. He doesn't get to pick up those mats. Owen and Threats owning probably the best mid-ground tarp they can have right now, but they're getting stinked off of it as there's so many people fighting for these high mid-ground layer tarps as well.
Staying on board with Assault, just great shots as he immediately realized that player was going to make an edit on him, getting the double combat shotgun shot through. And I think he wants to go for the mats, but maybe a little bit risky. Does find a med kit. Is he going to find the time to pop it? Is this the final zone? I don't think he's going to be able to do that unless he really goes for the full heal off right here. Now, down on low ground, there's still so many people left alive, Shiloh. I mean, there are 11 players total, 7 duos still remaining in this game, and it's final zone. It is time. 1 minute left in the game.
People are going to be playing super, super smart. The placements have not even gone out yet. All the points there. Still duels to get knocked down. 8 W keys get sent back to the jungle. No opportunity there for him to get any placements, unfortunately. 1 duo still needs to go down. Assault looking very healthy on HP and shield right now. Has a little bit more time to move through the storm. That storm taking 10 damage a second. Gives him about 8 to 9 seconds to move throughout without an elimination. Speaking of eliminations, Intangible goes down as Assault is now just freaking on everyone. Another shot coming in. Threats is getting eliminated. Can he keep it going? Assault has that low ground layer. It's very dangerous for the surprise factor. Davon getting that shot off, but it's not over yet. Creo and Nolan in a 1v1. Both their duos have gone down. Creo with the Superman launchpad on the height. Still has mats to answer with it as well. Starts taking the ticks of health first, but resets those ticks as Nolan has fallen under less HP. Creo with the high IQ launchpad and safety switch to stay in the storm and clinch out that game. Huge plays there. 3 eliminations. The victory royale. Creo, you can't do it better, Bella. You can't.
Creo just pulled off one of the most insane clutch launch pads I have ever seen, knowing exactly that Dusty Divot has these, you know, kind of elevation changes. It goes up and then it goes down drastically. He knows there's builds up there. I can get up there and I can out-heal or outlast you as you have to make your way through all of that old fossil. Perfect play there from Creo, and that's why he's qualified in solos, right? So he's trying to do it now, trying to get double qualified and bring his teammate KiwiFace along with him.
We talk about qualified duos and solos. Sap and Zayt now, who also qualified for duos, are going to be looking at getting some more money and placement as well as they keep playing for these top spots for respect and practice as well. Slurp sticking on Sap. He does have a few more. They pick up an elimination. A lot of loot to work with now. Looks like they have excess mats as well. They're in zone. They could big up their base if they wanted to, make it a little bit bigger for more sightlines, or they could stay cool, calm, collected. One cool thing I see from low ground usually is if you stay a little bit more low key and then look for surprise shots where people don't expect it, that's where you can get those big picks. On height, it's always dope to, you know, edit your walls, see if there's any advantage points, but with low ground, you usually have 1 or 2 angles, and you can get those pop-off moments there.
So Saf and Zayt, I've seen a little bit of on Zayt's Twitter about his strategies going into New York, you know, talking about how he's trying to control his drop spot being Loot Lake. That's going to be one of the most interesting storylines in New York, being the fact that they claim Loot Lake to themselves, but we know how many duos are already dropping there. We know how many duos are already qualified in New York. So Zayt talking about, I'm trying to stop anybody else from being in there because he already has Sean and Aiden. He already has Mitra and Mongo. You know, they're trying to claim Tilted, but they could come back to their old home the way they qualified.
The mind games from duos saying on Twitter, we might be taking this spot or that spot. The biggest theme for Worlds is going to be clashing of all these storylines. Everyone plays in their region. They know the rules, but that always gets flipped as Juxta gets flipped as well in the Storm. He goes down. Easy Elam points picked up from Sap and Zayt.
Yeah, I do want to shout out real quick somebody who's been doing a lot of research on those clashes going into New York in solos. He put together all the drops. That's Arcane on Twitter. Absolutely amazing work. He just does that week in, week out. And now we really can look at a map and say, okay, we're going to see this, we're going to see that. And I can't wait for it. But you know what else I can't wait for? It's Fuzzy and Hogman. This is one of the teams that has had those, you know, heartbreaking weeks, those heartbreaking moments, but also very positive, triumphant, because every week they're up there as Hogman picks up webs. Every single week, they're getting so close. And we saw them up on the leaderboard before, right around probably, possibly this game is fresh for us, not even realizing any of the points here. Hogman, you are crazy. He just went all the way up on high ground with the baller, and Fuzzy's doing the same too, but staggered because now, no, just barely. I thought he was going to take full high ground while Hogman fights from below. But what a crazy play there. They're all of a sudden in a really good position.
They talk about the use of ballers in competitive, but no one does it better, I think, than Hogman and Fuzzy. Hogman was the king of ballers coming in from solo. He's kind of given that knowledge to Fuzzy as well. The amount of time they can keep these ballers alive near the end of the circle. A rift coming out now, seeing they can once again reposition. Looks like their game plan is always zone 6 and 7. Fight for that height. Use your mats then. So if the balls don't work, we'll see if the rift to go can work. And it does almost, as Hogman gets that slow deploy, but pops off on Sean Claude from the back. We'll see if he can build up another shot coming in. The Sidewinder combat shotgun. We'll see if he can wall replace here. His enemy goes down lower towards the ground. Sean gets that elim, or Hogman gets the elim confirmed on Sean. Multi-layered high ground available as well for this duo.
Yeah, and I'm curious, okay, they are going to use the launch pad to get right back down. Actually, Fuzzy's going to go ahead and drop all the way down. He does have that glider redeploy, but one thing I'm noticing in their inventory, they have the chug splashes. We saw the play earlier from Famhood. So that is a possibility here in this game, but there's still so much to play, Shio.
The Chug Splash is one thing you can always bait and switch with. We saw that high ground PG fight about to happen, but instantaneously that heal off came in. We'll see what these duels can do with the utility they have. Brispy going for a nice utility play as his trap gives him some fruition, but he can't capitalize on getting those mats, ammo, or weapon upgrades because these guys have to move for the storm. Sometimes you can get those high priority elims down, but you won't be able to get everything out of them except for just the points, and it might make it so that you fall behind on tempo for the rest of the game, moving on positions.
Speaking of tempo, I love how Sherry here is not, you know, full topping all the way through, but what he is doing is placing a floor and a cone on the bottom layer and making sure that if anybody's going to go below, I can make that edit. I can open up on you.
A lot of personalized styles from a lot of people. Powbro going down. We'll see Cherry actually moving behind his builds as his duo stays up. This is huge. 6 duos left alive now. 1 more placement point left. We'll see who's allowed to play and who is not going to get any placement points from this point onwards. Hogman on the high ground with Fuzzy, who's trying to wall replace. Once again, this genius type of split on height where one person, one target, for the other one goes and does the dirty work. Fuzzy in a dirty situation, but Hogman cleans it up. Very nice stuff there as they get that elim down. Big points available as well for these duels if they can keep getting these elims over and over again.
And I love how they collapsed directly on that player. As soon as they got both the cone and the floor, that player started full sending on them. They both came down and made sure that they would handle this, but making sure that they're also getting that victory royale. They're slowing down, splitting the materials, knowing exactly where that LXRI duo is going to be, but Fuzzy goes down. It's now all up to Hogman, maybe opening a little bit preemptively there, but it's still top 3 situation. They've earned all the placement points. Hogman's gonna get revenge onto Cherry. There's still 1 more down below, but he has no mats. Just fine. The Siphon mats right there, that's gonna allow him to stay up just for a little bit longer. Using the Chug Splash, not yet using that slurp, but he sees an opportunity, does get a couple shots. Now it's a 1v1 down on low ground. Hogman can take his time or go full send, get the elimination. Yes, onto Brispy, and then finally onto Lotus. Hogman and Fuzzy take the victory royale with 20 points.
Options, options, options. Hogman just using the proper shots, using the proper heals. Zeke, what do you think about all this, man? How is this stuff getting so insane and more ramped up over and over again?
We knew for a while now that Hogmans and Fuzzy had it, and right then they just put all the pieces together. A massive 20-point game. Let's go.
Fuzzy Wuzzy doesn't care. Fuzzy Wuzzy will take all your points away and qualify for the World Cup. That should have rhymed. I apologize.
Sundown has long hair. There's the rhyme.
There you go.
All right, let's talk about some dope clips that you pulled for us.
Yes, let's take a look at some of the individual efforts that are coming out. I know it's Duos Week, but right now these guys are putting their partner on their back. First, you can see Vivid, no mats, no partner, no problem. Picks up the first elim, then immediately gets the knock onto a rock. He gets the bare minimum of mats there, a little bit more, 18, and he's able to convert it into more. gets the immediate pickaxe, and then finds out GG's only Rigorth, not enough there. Frags his way into the top 10, and then he's still going. We hopped on board with him. He was at 2 elims, no mats, no partner. Now all of a sudden, 6 elims, 75 mats, has control of the mid-tarp, gets himself into that top 5 situation, almost single-handedly. Brilliantly done from the week 1 qualifier. It was a great effort and another great individual effort out of Assaults here. Drops down, puts the drum gun at mid-range to work, picking up branches, and then gets the upgrade to that legendary combat, and then he's gonna go to town with it. Finds Wordbro on the quick rotation through, and then doesn't let up, still picking people up inside the top 10 and sticking with it. This is how Innocence and Assault have made their plays. They've done it by fragging out and getting the elims, trying to be the only full controller duo. Shout out to Wolfies being the 2nd controller player to make it so far to the Fortnite World Cup for the duos, and Assault just running down the low ground here. And again, this has been all without Innocence. We hopped on board. He was only on the 2 elims. He was able to get 5, 6 now, and then get himself into the top 5 as well. Just a brilliantly done play. And will the individual efforts be enough? Speaking of an individual effort, Creo with the nuts launchpad up onto the high ground, and then watch how he stays in the storm. We talk about every single interaction mattering, sometimes not even the interaction mattering, every single second, and just having 1 more second in the zone. He knows when it goes to full close, he's ready to challenge out. Brilliantly done, trying to get Lazarus a duo spot as well as their solo spot. Let's take a look at the standings so far, and it's Slackies and Keys right now in the top spot, 57 points. The Young Calculator and Macwood just behind them with 56, and then Aroa and NPen currently in 3rd at 55. The spread starting to get there now, 9 points, but again, it is anybody's match, Zeke. It is anybody's tournament, anybody's day. All of these guys have been so close, and this is really a who's who of NA East for competitive Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really big names here. Again, there's only the 3 spots in NA East, so a lot of these guys are going to look to bring their A game heading into these last few matches. I mean, when you look at even Calculator and Macwood, right, they've got the 7 games played. That's a lot with very little margin of error there, so you gotta hope they come up with some really big games. But Fortnite fan, we appreciate, of course, you guys for hanging out with us, sticking around for Fortnite, all the Fortnite action. But for now, we're gonna go to break. I know. Just get up, go get yourself a snack, use the restroom, come back. We'll have more Fortnite action. Don't go too far.
Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your spots and numbs. Burgers from dirt to munch. Tacos Royale with brunch. Red juices, a tasty treat for Lil Whip, Peely, and Pizza Pete. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your spots and numbs. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your spots and numbs.
What's up, Fortnite fam?
Today, we're going to be playing for $3 million for charity, folks, and it is going to be an incredible time.
50 of your favorite Fortnite personalities will be paired up with 50 celebrities put on this fantastic stage.
It's going to be awesome. It's duos, so we've seen it before at the Pro-Am last year, and it's always a blast. I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
The first match of the Summer Block Party Pro-Am is beginning right now.
They're putting down pressure. No one's safe now. That's 1 elim right there. Can he get a second? That is going to get followed up because he desperately needs materials.
A player behind, 102 to the face. Look at this, he's just waiting for a full send. It's Symphony. He shuts him down. It's a 1v1. Who is the other player that's left?
Oh! Here it is. He's going with the X. Oh! Airwalks. Wow. Dude, that was aggressive. Look at him go here. Just beating down players. No weapons. Doesn't even need them.
Wants this. Look at this. Aiden's just supplying pressure.
Oh! Tries to go to the high ground.
This might have been a mistake. This is Aiden. We're talking about more damage. Bucky's down to nothing. And Aiden, victory royale.
One great shot connects up, comes up over top. It's a second right there, and the Rifter goes out.
Oh, she's on the run. She's chasing it down.
You're not gonna let this one go away. Oh, no, no. You know, you're a solo. No turning back now.
35 wide on that damage there, and Ewok got the target. One build remaining, and that's it. He's gonna land in front of him, and typical gamer. Final game. Typical gamer pops up behind Janina. Oh, the rage. At this point in time, not looking the best when it comes to the... Oh, no!
Final moments, Golden Boy.
This is it right here, the 1v1. It's going to be Aiden going up against Symphony, pushing forward, forcing the activity. Oh! Symphony with the victory royale. Your winner of the second Fortnite Pro-Am is RL Grime and Aaron.
I'm a big fan of competitive Fortnite and watching it, so this has been really cool to be involved with.
That was easy, actually.
Easy peasy.
Welcome back to the Fortnite World Cup Online Open. We are in our last week, and we are knee-deep in the action in NA East. So let's get right back in the action. I mean, we're seeing crazy storylines right now. So many names are fighting for that top of the leaderboard. We just saw Hogman and Fuzzy clutch up big time. We see names like 72 Hours and Vivid, Aspect and Animal. They're all pushing the top of the leaderboard. So let's get right back into it. Gentlemen, I have Sundown and I have Zeke. Guys, take it away.
Boom. The original duo returns again.
You know us, you probably don't like us, but we're ready to get into the matches. NA East is on its way.
Speak for yourself.
Week 10 going, I know everybody loves you, but
I was going to say everyone hates me.
Appreciating humor. The games are ready. Let's get into it. The back third of NA East. These are going to be the final, not quite the final match. We still got a little bit to go. We still got a little bit of leaderboard to work through, but we're getting down to the wire in terms of the spot. Brazil is getting down there as well. We'll have those results when they're final, but only 5 spots left. And the Fortnite World Cup solos are done, and this will be the end of the duos as Bugga gets sent back to lobby right away. No wall replacement going on there, just a straight shot to the grill from Exis and Cease.
Well, you know, this is just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But don't forget, guys, those thresholds, all right? Top 15, top 10, top 5 in the victory hour, the placement thresholds. Every elimination is a point. Very simple to remember. We're back in that dual format, and just like Sundown says, this is it. You know, this is the final opportunity for these players to punch their ticket to the finals in New York City. Don't forget that it's July 26th through the 28th. Don't miss it. Mark your calendars. We're going to be hanging out, having a great time, and watching some of the most competitive Fortnite we've ever seen in our entire lives right now. Aroa, looks like some people are trying to just be up in his airspace. He's not favoring it right now. He sends some shots out. Nothing's quite connected yet, Sundown, but I think it's fun that we're all hanging out with our little slidey feets.
I really, really dislike. So I actually like box fights more when I have ice on my feet, because for some reason I've actually, like, I went back and looked, I win a higher percentage of them. I don't know if it's just because of the chaos or it throws my opponents off more, but in terms of rotating and all that, just absolutely dislike it. But Aroa and Npen getting pushed on by Destroy and his partner. Destroy will end up being converted over, but he's trying to disengage over. He knows Destroy is going to end up being picked up, is going for the revive on Npen right now as RJX pushes in, trying to get over towards his partner, but not going to be able to do it. As Frost and Devious keep putting pressure on him, Baldi-sama is directly above them as well. No shotgun in sight, Zeke.
That's probably why he's not taking this fight. He could easily get in that box, but I mean, if you're going to put an infantry rifle to work in that close range, you're probably not going to hit the shots, especially with a slow, with a shallow magazine there. You probably just don't want to be taking those fights.
Well, it's so close range, it's not horrible, right? 44 to the chest, and then you have the 88 afterward. Oh my God! He uses it, he pushes it in the box, and he finds it. The back-to-back headshots. Dini gets sent down right away, and now Baldi knows he has that wall. He's trying to find the shot. Can he find it? No, instead gets ripped up into the sky. He's like, all right, I'll take a free rotation. Would have liked the shotgun, but a rotation will be nice, as you can now check out the backside of the storm. Ricardini, Assassin, FA Mark, Dodo Crunchy, and Orbi all trying to make it over to that launch pad. Diego and Aiden just rotating on the low ground. The SH boys trying to find some room. No utility insight and hurting on Matt so far.
So you know what I've discovered is that I guess these players can just somehow hear me. So every time I say something that doesn't seem plausible, they just say, Zeke, hold my slurp juice. Watch this. So that's why I basically said that. I was like, there's no way. Oh. And, you know, I was wrong. Niddle there picked up, though, and, of course, he's going to be confirmed there because that's going to keep Aiden alive. That extra siphon going to make the difference.
And then the Storm actually moving back over across from him when he's in kind of a tough position from the metal. Will now have to rotate away, but isn't going to be forced out. And with just above 70 effective HP, that's going to be huge. Got to chuck out the stinks to try and get whatever ticks he can. Those players are all super low, and he drops down. He gets Cameron in JG. Can he find the other player? Casker gets ticked over as well. That's one, that's two. He gets the knock there. He needs to find the conversion. Can he find the siphon? He did. 49. He needs to find the zone, though. 1, 2, 3. You can't miss the power point. Oh! The siphon again. That was his knock, which means he gets into the zone. 19 HP. And Jezel TTV takes him down. Give him a follow there, as Psalm and Symmetrical are the only ones up on the high ground. The rest of the lobby is going to have to go up against Old Man Mountain as Aspect begins his climb. So does Exus. Tendons and Nolan's directly behind him as we're closing in on the top 10. Z-Laner picks up Funded, and Nolan actually gets a knock onto Psalm, which I'm assuming is from knocking out the high ground. So I'm not sure anybody's up there. Yep, high ground is now gone. Aspect and Animal own it.
12 players, 8 duos, top 5 is the next threshold. You've got a player down below using that campfire, trying to keep themselves alive right now in Aspect. And you know, his dual partner Animal, like you said, they've got the high ground advantage. This is huge. It depends on where we're going, but look at Animal's HP. Bottom left right now, critical condition. Laner there is going to be picked up, and on 106 over on the dome of that player. Aspect only gets traded out for 38.
He wants to go aggro on him. He knows where that player is, knows he's on the backside. He's looking to find it. How deep did he disengage down? Can I go find it? As Symmetrical picks up Bambi for Pyronic, and we're going to have our top 5. So now it's Stony and Crunchy on the low ground. Tendons and Forwards on the tarp beneath. Aspect and Animal on ultimate high. Tendons and Nolan are in your bottom right-hand corner. Aspect and Animal in the top right. You can see all the rest of the action on the left-hand side as Stony does end up actually forcing down Nolan. Tendons goes to try and challenge, is able to find it, and then Stony gets knocked as well. But the high ground's going to be the difference as Tendons is doing everything he can to remain in the zone, and he found it, 10 HP, but it's not going to matter. Aspect picks it up. That's the 4 elims plus the victory route, 14 points going over, pushing them up to 53. That's why they were up there on the leaderboard. The favorites coming in after all the warm-ups kind of fell off, but Aspect has been rolling, and they're trying to make it again. This is week 10. Oceania is done. Asia is done. Europe is done. And we're in the back half of NA East. It is time to put up or stay at home. The trips to New York City are on the line, and Bizzle and Demo want to be there together. Of course, Bizzle qualifying in week 1, but he wants to be playing with Demo on that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to try and get your dual partner into the finals, right? This is going to be one of the most insane events I think, ever, right? And if you're Ghost Bizzle, who's already qualified, you're thinking, I've got to try and get my dual partner there, Demo. We've got to make it there. And, you know, they've come close. They haven't put it together yet, but...
I think they came probably about as close as any other guys. I've told this story a couple times.
Yeah, you have.
And I think it was week 4 or week 6. No, it was week 6. There was one Shadow Bomb rotation when they were in 16th place, where they popped the window and 2 guys were staring at them, just waiting for the door to come out, and they both got lasered, and a half second later, somebody else went down. So that would have been the points. That would have been enough to push them over the top. And that's when we talk about every little moment mattering, every decision sometimes being the difference. That is the prime example. But Virus QT does get picked up, and Bizzle and Demo are going to look to make a case here. Kind of hurting in terms of utility, but positional-wise, not in a bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, ammo is looking pretty sparse, right? Just a mag and a half in the AR there, a few rounds with the flintlock, a few slugs there for the combat, not much in the way to work with. Look on the other side, though. Vivid. He is 2 boxes away. Now, 72 is in critical condition. Take a look, and look at this. 5 total builds.
No shields on either of them. Like, they have less than 100 effective HP. They do have a rift, but you don't want to go skyward unless you're going late, and it can guarantee you placements. But you also don't want to be caught out in an awkward rotation here. They can't afford to tarp. You either have to go right away, or it goes super late and just pray nobody looks in your direction, which for somebody, they're sitting on 50 points. Can he find 1, 2, 3, but the 16 isn't going to be enough. They desperately needed it, but now attention is drawn their way. 72 is going over. You see the combat swiveling towards them. It's Lotus directly above, Predator on the backside, and they're going to go late. They're going to go late, and they're going to pop and just hang out and hope nobody looks skyward, because 1 AR bullet will drop 72, 2 will drop Vivid, but right now everyone else is worried about rotating. And there it goes, skyward, and he knows it's white. All of a sudden, Vivid goes straight.
Oh my God!
Box, can he find it?
Oh!
Mateos gets dropped. That could be the difference. They have all the mats. They have the mid-tarp. They need to drop down and get more, though. They need the campfire. They need all the resources. You see, on the right, Vivid is down. You have to cover your sides. Vivid is down. 72 has to clutch up, but he's taking ticks. He's over in the storm. You can see him there, dead middle of your screen, and he is down outside of the top 15. But look in the bottom left. Ninja in reverse still up. Bizzle and Demo, Artsy and Midas, Sean, Claude in the middle as well. And hello, Burst SMG. First time I think we've seen that. All cast. Bizzle puts it to work right there.
Every single weapon, every single form of utility, everything in the hands of these players that are playing the top 0.001% will be lethal.
I mean, Bizzle doesn't even need to use weapons sometimes to be successful. We've seen him, you know what, I'll give him a shout out for the memery, but like, in the end, it's really impressive doing that. You don't expose yourself to risk, but the fact that he's still going out and trying to make plays with the impulses and the turrets, like, that's when you know somebody's on another level for the solos competition. But Cartier Cole and Cartier Chris looking skyward, drops everyone, and he turns back. Cool guys don't look at explosions as 1-2 tick over right there. Really heads up play.
Unfortunately, they're not going to get the materials and ammo, but still, 2 eliminations, 2 points on the board, and pushes them into top 15. You like to see it. The lobby's going to continue thinning out. Now, keep in mind, top 10 is that next placement threshold. That's where their next aim is. You've got someone up in the sky trying to challenge Germ. I'm so sorry. You have been eliminated.
Hogman goes down, but was inside the top 10, so he got the 5 points. Bizzle and Demo are still up as well on the mid-tarp as shots are raining down from Chris and Cole. They're doing so well. Bizzle and Demo both go down outside the top 5. No more points there for the vaulted duo, and now Janik picks up dimes. We have our top 10 as top 5 as Cherish is inside of it. Reverse and Ninja still on the low ground. Lotus with a great slide around. Reverse with an even more heads-up play. Ninja's in your bottom right. Cartier Cole in your top right. Janik and Stowe on the mid-tarp as we have a 2v2v2. RPGs are coming out. Can they catch it? They catch it right away. Player gets dropped down. Ninja reverse make quick work of him, but then Ninja catches the rocket right on his face. Can he find some time? Watch Ninja in the bottom right. Cartier Cole in your top right now. You can see Reverse trying to get an angle to support him. Cole has got the RPG reloaded, begins to work top down. Ninja continuing to tarp himself out. Did have enough room. No. Reverse went to the sky. Are they going to look up while Ninja tries to get them distracted? Now they're looking downward as Ninja is distracted. This is the split from Reverse. Gets blasted out of the sky. Interesting call as Reverse now gets dropped to Ninja. Make the play. The clutch is on him. Gets cracked back 17 HP, but now he has the high ground with Shadows. Needs to pop minis if he can get the room. A siphon would be huge, and it's not going to happen. Chris and Cole shut down Reverse and Ninja. 8 elims in the victory royale, pushing them up to 45 points.
Man, that was, you know, I respect the play for sure, but